It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
It's the most exciting sport on earth as far as I'm concerned.
Take a walk through the Nitro pits as we go one-on-one with the stars of drag racing.
Hi, I'm Courtney Forrest.
I'm Tony Schumacher.
Hey, you're with Matt Hagan.
This is Ron Capps, Matt Hagan's personal friend. You're on WFO.
Featuring the NHRA's Alan Reinhart.
Our events are truly an experience. They're not just a spectator event. They are an experience.
So get in, sit down, and hold on with host Joe Castello as he goes WFO.
Thanks, brother. Always love being on WFO, baby. Nobody brings it to you better than you, brother.
Now crank it up. It's time to go WFO. Here's your host, Joe Castello.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Vegas, baby, Vegas. What's up, NHRA fans? Welcome back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro, the podcast where you hear the Mellow Yellow Series winners after each and every NHRA national event. My name is Joe Castello, and can you believe we only have 2 Mellow Yellow Series races remaining in the 2018 season? It is shocking how quickly this season has gone by, this year has gone by, Black Friday, all that stuff, it's all coming. Can you believe it? I can believe it. They go by so rapidly. I want you all to know, though, that there are so many great stories that are being created right now by our favorite drivers that we're going to continue the WFO podcast right into the holiday season. Right into the off season, right into the holiday season, and I want you to know you can stay subscribed. You will continue to get entertainment, or something that we at least try to pass off as entertainment here on WFO Radio. This show, you're going to hear the first of our 2018 Lucas Oil Series champions, Sean Bellemeur, as promised a week ago, is on this show. We're going to do a full championship debrief. We're going to talk about his plans for next year. We're going to talk about that massive championship burnout. We're going to talk about all kinds of great stuff. Sean Bellemeur going to be on the show. If you're a Lucas Oil fan, a Lucas Oil driver, if you're in the alcohol ranks, you're going to want to hear this guy because he is just so cool in his love for the sport. You're going to love it. It is a great interview. Sean Bellemeur coming up on the show. Also on the show, he's not out of it, Tim Wilkerson and Wilkes Warriors. If you're a fan of Tim Wilkerson, you are definitely going to want to share this show, retweet this show, tell all your friends about this show, because Tim Wilkerson is not out of it. 111 points out of the lead. Yes, it is a long shot, but it was a long shot for him to make the countdown, period. It was a long shot for him to be in the top 5 in points, period. Wilkerson thinks he's still got a shot, and he's got some swagger about it. He's got a cool attitude about it. Tim Wilkerson going to be on the show. So Tim Wilkerson, Sean Bellemeur also on the show. Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus, the editor, going to bring the heat, going to talk a little bit about the Mountain Motor Pro Stock not being integrated into regular Pro Stock story that broke with just a couple of minutes remaining prior to our deadline a week ago. We did address it at the very tail end of the show. Bobby with that story. I am, I'm directionless and floating with my opinions on this because I just want a competitive, cool, exciting pro stock. And I'm open to suggestions. We have put out some suggestions to our audience. We've gotten some suggestions from our audience. We might play those. If you're a longtime WFO radio listener, you may recall a year ago we spent months and months on the pro stock story. We have done as much research as anybody else out there in the drag racing world, certainly in the media, talking with drivers, asking driver personalities, like, what do you think? What do you want to do? What should be done? What would you do? All of these things. It will be interesting to see how this pro stock saga ends. Will it end? Is it a new beginning? We don't know. But we're going to talk with Bobby Bennett about it, get his thoughts on the championship, Steve Torrance running the table, all that stuff. Vegas, all that is coming up on the show, plus my time at the tail end. Alan Reinhart waiting in the wings. But right now I want to tell you about the people who make it possible, because it's the holiday season, folks. It's the holiday season. And I know you are about to be besieged with people telling you how and why to get your gift for your loved ones. And I'm telling you, you should just do it with our WFO radio sponsors. Like CatSpotLitter.com. Nothing the missus loves more than a bag of cat litter for Christmas. CatSpotLitter.com. That might be a bad example, and I'm kidding, right? I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding, right? Don't get the cat litter for Christmas or your anniversary or her birthday or Valentine's Day. Big mistake. But if you did position it properly, like you'll never have to carry cat litter around again in the grocery store because we're just going to order it off catspotlitter.com and support drag racing, that might be a good angle. Keep it in mind. HusseyPerformance.net, providing those copper head gaskets for the top alcohol world champion in funny car, Sean Bellemeur. And they can provide that world championship caliber to you. Go to HusseyPerformance.net. Been supporting WFO Radio. I know you're trying to build an engine during the off season, or you build many engines because that is your business. Try HusseyPerformance.net. Rodax Coffee and Grills.com. Marvin Rodak. He's our coffee sponsor, but he is also our gourmet lifestyle sponsor. And a pound of coffee, a bottle of hot sauce, and a container of their award-winning spice rub. We call it the Rodax Holiday Packs. And to me, it is the greatest gift. It is easy and affordable for you, but the recipient will love it because it's an extra sensory experience, right? You got the odor, you got the everything. It's like, oh, the aroma. They're opening the package. What is this? This is so great. Rodax. And it's an experience that they will enjoy and be able to use right through the new year. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, the Dragster Adventure. Look, you can go get your license upgraded, of course, and learn to become a better bracket racer. But really, it's about the adrenaline junkie in your family. Send them on the Dragster Adventure. They will love you for it. If you've got a great client, or if you've got a sales team, or if you've got a group of great clients, this is something they will really appreciate. You will send them down the track. They will go 130 miles per hour. They will remember it forever. Frank Hawley's Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com. Be sure to tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Samtech.edu, not really a holiday-related tie-in for that one. That is more all the rest of the holidays of your life. Like, do you want to have a great job that you can provide for your children? You can buy them great stuff. Well, Samtech can get you a head start on that. Become a CNC machinist, a high-performance engine builder, learn motorsport EFI. Go to samtech.edu today to find out more information, especially for a lot of you young people. They take the GI Bill. This is a job that will not be outsourced. Samtech.edu. Motorsportsguys.com. The Vegas Win Tribute hat pretty much 1 year ago. Terry McMillan breaking through for his first win. Huge victory. I remember going to see Terry and Rob Wendland after it was all over. In walks Brittany Force to congratulate him, to seek him out, to congratulate him. I thought, wow, class move. Here it is hours after the race, and Brittany is like tracking down Terry to congratulate him. Well, that Win Tribute hat is available for free to people who use the promo code WFO when you buy something at motorsportsguys.com. And that's it. It's motorsportsguys.com. Mail order parts, pieces, oil, Amalie Motor Oil. Get on it. Aerospacecomponents.com. Kim Cussy and her team. Brakes, vacuum pumps, everything you can possibly imagine that is CNC machined. Aerospace Components does it. They've got a lot of high-quality, great products you see in a lot of the winning cars out there. Perfect for your race car, your street rod, your car that you want to stand out, whether it be pedal sets for Mustangs, whether it be the titanium wave brake rotor, whether it be wheel bearings. They have got all kinds of high-performance parts pieces coming out of the shop at aerospacecomponents.com. Check them out. Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. This is a big one for us, because we are going to be at the PRI trade show. I'm going to be there walking around. Hangstafers is doing a big thing in their booth. So all you WFO radio listeners out there that are going to PRI, we are all going to meet up at the Hangstafers booth. And we're going to schedule it. And it's going to be a plan. We're waiting on booth numbers, all that stuff. But Antron's going to be there. Tommy Johnson's going to be there. Matt and Zach Sackman are going to be there. Joe Castello is going to swing by. It's going to be great. And most importantly, if you've got a shop, Hangstafers is looking to make your work more efficient. And finally, audible.com/WFO Nitro. Start your 30-day free trial. It's audio entertainment. You're a listener. You listen to the podcast. You know how to listen. You know what it's all about. You know that you get smarter by listening while you work. And Audible has all kinds of great stuff. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. Why not start your 30-day free trial? And they got the great listen guarantee. With if you don't like something, you can swap it out, which is great stuff. Those are the people that make WFO Radio possible. We greatly appreciate them, because without them and our great marketing partners, there's no show. This doesn't happen. You know, It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And instead, we get to hear from Tim Wilkerson and Sean Bellemeur and Bobby Bennett. And this guy, he is the voice of the NHRA. He'll be calling the action in Vegas, and then Pomona, and then the season is over, which is a bummer, but the show will continue. Alan Reinhart. Alan, welcome back.
You know, Joe, I was doing a lot better with that statement until you said the part about the season is over. Can't you just say Vegas, Pomona, and leave it at that?
Yeah, that's so true. I shouldn't bring up the downside of it.
I mean, come on. When you were at Chuck E. Cheese when you were 8 years old, did you love it when your mom said, "Okay, kids, 10 more minutes, then you all have to go home"?
How did you know? How did you know I was at Chuck E. Cheese just a couple of days ago? Literally.
Well, I mean, I've got a tracking device on your phone.
You must. I just did a big bit on the Ignition Show. We were at Chuck E. Cheese. Giovanni and Miami's son had a birthday, 8 years old. I was just 8. You even got the 8 years old part of it right. That's amazing. But yes, no, we did not say, like, getting ready to leave in 5 minutes. It was more like we just tricked him out of there. Like, hey, let's go look at this. Let's go get some ice cream. Oh, we're out.
Perfect.
So ice cream for you, Reinhart, in a couple of weeks.
All right, awesome. Looking forward to it. I like ice cream.
Oh, I love ice cream, too. All right, so first of all,
trying to get my tuxedo, but anyway.
There you go. So you were out at Gateway this past weekend, and now we're down there. And as far as I understand it, there are 3 races remaining of the 2018 NHRA drag racing season.
Good old Vegas, Pomona. Yep, the 2 nationals and the 1 giant regional. It'll be interesting to see, you know, what we end up with for participation in the regional, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's 800 cars there.
Yeah, a lot of cars. We had like 650 or something in Dallas. We had a lot of cars. And there are still some championship fights that are open. We are going to discuss the categories and kind of run down on this show. We got Sean Bellemeur. He made that one easy for us by going out and dominating. He says he's going to run Vegas, Pomona, and they've got a possibility at a perfect claim. What a season that has been.
Exactly right. And, you know, perfect claims are just very difficult to come by, and you don't get that many opportunities to do it. So why wouldn't a guy? You know, obviously they were going to go to Pomona, I'm assuming anyway, because why wouldn't you run the race before the banquet? Vegas is kind of sort of on the way. And since Sean Bellemeur is from the West Coast, it'll be an opportunity for his family and friends to come out and watch him race that, you know, don't necessarily get to when he's in Charlotte or in Gainesville or maybe even in Dallas. So obviously, you know, they've already got the championship locked up, so they're racing for nothing but a little pride in that potential perfect season. And there's certainly a couple of guys out there that wouldn't mind stealing the cherry off the top of the sundae if they could.
Absolutely. Well, right, exactly. And that having been the season of dominance they have worked so far, it's going to be hard to do. Bellemeur, they've got a whole thing going on. We're going to talk to him on the show. We will get into the Mellow Yellow Series, but let's start off with the Lucas Oil Series, and let's start off with Top Alcohol Dragster. Sean Cowie, Joey Severance, within 10 points of one another with the final races remaining. You know, what do you think? Just a slugfest, really.
It is, and, you know, talked about a little bit last week, the fact that I think 2 months ago everybody was ready to just hand Sean Cowie the trophy, but, you know, then Joey Severance coming on strong. If Joey had won the final round a week ago out in Charlotte, he'd be the point leader right now, but they are both in a position where they can claim the last 2 nationals. They've both got an opportunity to make a move, and obviously they're both going to be there. If I'm Sean Cowie, the thing that makes me most nervous is Joey Severance loves Vegas. For whatever reason, he has done tremendous at Vegas. And, you know, basically at this point, there's 1 round between them. So what Sean needs to do is just go win out. If he keeps Joey from winning the races, he can keep Joey from winning the championship. But I think that's his best bet right now. So much fun to watch that. It's simple. It's pretty much, as of now, with the 10-point deficit between the two, who goes farther at each race? Pretty much? Not necessarily, because of the way the system works. You know, you're replacing a race. So, you know, if your best race, for instance, is a semifinal finish, well, then obviously you've got to go to the final round to make points. If they both lose in the second round, then it doesn't make any difference. Or if one loses the first round and one loses the second round. And just taking a look at Joey's score here real quick, since I got my computer in front of me, he's got an opportunity to replace a second round national event. So, taking a look at Sean's point. Sean has got a chance to replace a second round national event. So if he goes to the semis, he's adding points. If he goes to the final, he's adding points. If he wins it, obviously he's adding a lot of points. And it's just a matter of, you know, trying to replace what you've already got. Since the way the point system works, in the alcohol cars, you get to go to 10 national events and count your best 7, and you go to 6 regionals and count your best 3, and those 10 points make up your score. Right now, they both have the same number. They've both been to 8 nationals, and they've both been to 6 regionals, so they both have an opportunity to improve at Vegas and Pomona.
Wow. So 3 races for the title. That's awesome. Between 2 of the best, blown alcohol cars out there, Joey Severance vying for his 4th championship in a row. Sean Cowie trying to unseat him. Meanwhile, Megan Meyer, Troy Coughlin, 3rd and 4th. Megan Meyer was very, very determined to win her regional championship, and from what I understand, she was able to do that this past weekend.
Yeah, even though she had a rough weekend, both Megan and Rachel went out in the first round, but she was able to lock up the regional championship again. Troy Coughlin basically, he's got races to claim, but he's just got too many points to try to make up.
Yeah, there you have it. But a great run for Troy Coughlin regardless. His let's call it his rookie season in top alcohol dragster, and to finish top 5 in the points, collect his first win, both divisionally and nationally. There's more from this young man. My feeling is we're going to see him back in Top Fuel eventually. Everybody I've spoken with that bug bites ends up trying to go back there, and I think he's doing it the right way.
I agree with that. I also, and I have no inside information, but I would not be surprised to see him back next year with the McPhillips team, because I think this year, after the driver getting a little experience, a little more confidence in the car, I think they could make a legitimate championship run next year. And why wouldn't you take a year and do that, and then maybe potentially look about taking a step back into Top Fuel? Troy's young; he's got a lot in front of him. Why wouldn't you take a chance at doing something that nobody else in the Coughlin family's ever done, and that's winning the alcohol championship? And he did, by the way, win the Eastern Region already.
I agree. The drag racing's not going anywhere. The Coughlin family's not going anywhere. Troy's got some time to do it the right way. Great year, solid year for Troy Coughlin. Top alcohol funny car already locked down. Let's go to competition eliminator, where Frank Aragona has been chasing this championship, bought the car with the express purpose of going out and chasing a title, has the lead over Clinton F. and David Rampy. The claim is still open. People can get some more races. Well, what do you think about Frankie's chances? We don't know if he's going west. I would imagine he is.
I don't know if he's going west or not. I know Clinton F. is in a pretty good position right now because he can claim another national and another divisional, and the points work a little bit differently in the rest of the Lucas Series, but it's basically the same as alcohol. You get to go to so many races, you get to claim so many races, and Clint certainly has some room to move. He's got a good fast car. He's driving pretty well right now. His confidence is good, so I'm sure that he'll be at the 2 Vegas races. His car doesn't seem to mind a little bit of altitude at the racetrack, so we'll just have to wait and see if he can make the move. And if Frank decides to come out and block, then that'll be even one more thing to watch. But I think that race is pretty much down to those 2. I don't think anybody else has got enough room that they could do anything.
Very, very interesting. Super Stock and Stock Eliminator. Justin Lamb won both last year, up until very recently was leading both. But let's focus on Super Stock, where Justin has got 595. Brad Ziskowski, who is stick shifting his way to it, 580. Chris Cheney, 573. Brandon Bakey's 571. That is very close. Anthony Bertazzi, 569. A lot of drivers very close at the top of the points in Super Stock.
Yeah, but they're also basically running out of claims. Chris Cheney's got an opportunity to add with the national event, and I'm guessing he'll be in Vegas. Brad Zaskowski can't do anything at the Nationals, but he's got a chance at the regional race. That one is still wide open. You look at, Brandon's got 1 regional to claim. Anthony's got a regional to claim. Tyler Bohannon has got a national left to claim. So I think that one's still pretty much wide open. One of the problems that they're going to have is Justin Lamb is at his home racetrack, and he also has a regional or divisional left to claim. And Justin in Las Vegas, we've seen it over the years. He just has a lot of success there, and he's got an opportunity to go out there, not only block, but potentially add as well. So, Justin's certainly in the driver's seat, but that one's a long ways from over.
And Stock Eliminator, Brian McClanahan had taken the points lead by 1 point over Justin Lamb. Jeff Taylor is 3rd, and it looks like Brian still has, races to claim, but he's already got the lead. Does he have to, by the way, 690 points to 689? We always talk like, when you're close to 700, that's usually championship territory. And Justin finds himself 1 point behind, but no more races. Thomas Fletcher, 579, he's got a couple more, but it looks like Brian McClanahan pretty much in the driver's seat.
Yeah, he definitely is. I don't know that Thomas Fletcher's coming to Vegas. If I was betting, I would bet no, but I've certainly been wrong before. You look at what McClanahan has put up. He can claim the last two nationals and the regional, but he's got to go a long way to make any noise at all. He's throwing away a 51 in Las Vegas, which basically means he's got to go to the fourth round in order to add. And other than that, his scorecard is pretty much stacked with, wins, runner-ups, and a couple of semifinals. So he's going to have to go rounds to add anything. Now, Justin is claimed out at nationals, so the only race that he would be able to add would be the Vegas Regional on the second round, the second weekend out there. And looking at Justin's points total right now, Justin basically is going to have to go to the final round in order to make ground. Most of his points were done on the regional side. He's got a number of wins over there, so he's got an opportunity to improve, but he doesn't have a big opportunity to improve. And Brian has the bigger lead and opportunity to improve. So right now, I think if I had to bet, I'd bet on Brian. But like I said, betting against Justin at his home racetrack, even if Justin goes out and wins the regional and takes the lead, Brian would still have an opportunity in Pomona to take it back from him. So it's down to being a two-horse race, but I really think that Brian is in the better position right now.
Very exciting stuff. Super Comp, Chris Gerritsen had the lead for most of the year, just got passed by Don Nichols. Don got 600 points and more races, but in the spot, it's just a matter of who's going where, if anybody is going to go out west and try to improve.
I think Steve Williams has got a legitimate shot at it. The fact that he ended up being runner-up in Dallas hurt his cause considerably because he would have loved to have those extra points, but he can still claim one national and the divisional, and I promise you he's going to be in Vegas. Don Nichols also has got an opportunity to continue claiming, so he's definitely in a good position. When you have the lead and the opportunity to add, I think, Don Nichols is a favorite, but if I had to pick, a guy with a long shot that's got an opportunity, I think Steve Williams has got some room to move.
Wow, a great racer. Looking at the top 10 in Super Comp, I know a lot of people don't quite get or want to get the .90 categories, but Don Nichols, Chris Gerritsen, Ray Miller III, Austin Williams, Devin Eisenhower, Steve Williams, Mike Robalato, Ray Miller Jr., Coy Collier, Edmund Richardson. Like, my goodness, that's a tough field.
Yeah, that's the cream coming to the top. I love Chris Gerritsen, the fact that he runs his car so differently. That he throttle stops it down on the big end, a la Tim Nicholson in Super Gas, and that he's had a tremendous season. He certainly is going to finish in the top five. There's a couple of guys that maybe have an opportunity to knock him down from the number 2 spot, but that's a great season for a guy who's doing things a little bit different and stands out from the crowd, so to speak. So I think, I applaud a guy like that, a guy that is not only is he bucking what has become to be known as, the best way to do things, but he's showing that you can win and be successful by doing that.
Had a couple of great interactions with him out at Charlotte, and we spoke about his, the small front tires, and, he does that by choice. He says that he's got short attention span and is easily distracted, and he wants to make things extremely challenging on him in the staging process so that he focuses. He knows how to control his own mind and emotions, and he's got this thing set up differently than so many others and has had a great season. And let's bring it over to Super Gas, where Devin Eisenhower, the guy won Indy. He leads the points over Ray Sawyer and Aaron Kennard. Tim Nicholson, who finished 7th last year, sitting 4th right now, another reverse throttle stopper. Got a win a couple of weeks back in St. Louis. But tightly wrapped at the top. What do you think about it? Is Devin Eisenhower, is he in the driver's seat?
Well, he's certainly looking better now. He had, Ray Sawyer was legitimate threat, and Ray Sawyer came up a little bit short last weekend out at Madison, Illinois. So Ray ended up winning the division, but he now cannot win the world, and he is claimed out. Aaron Kennard's still got some room to move, but he's got a lot of movement that he needs. Tim Nicholson, I'm not sure if he's headed west or not, but you look down there at Michael Miller, the fact that he's only been to 3 national events means that he could claim Vegas and Pomona both, if he can do something with it. Now, in his 3 national events, Mike Miller's got some room to move, but he's got a couple of national wins already. So he doesn't have a lot of room to move on the national side. Just be a matter of how many cars shows up and whether or not he can make it all happen. But, he's certainly got an outside shot. Aaron Kennard needs to pick up 50 points, and he's got a race left. He's got a couple of races left to claim. So he's got an opportunity to make a move if he gets on a hot streak. And he's actually throwing away some pretty early round exits. So Aaron Kennard's going to be adding points. Aaron Kennard will be adding points if he gets to the 3rd round. And then that leaves you a whole lot of room to chase a guy down if you can make it Sunday or, make it all the way to the Parade of Champions.
So we'll be keeping our eye out on Aaron Kennard as he goes through eliminations. In the Racing RVs categories, top dragster in particular, Paul Nero, who has been at the top pretty much every year, near the top since we started doing this World Championship points, has the points lead over Mark Jones and Al Kenny, down to the wire.
Yeah, right now I think I'd rather be Paul Nero than anybody. He's sitting on I don't want to say comfortable lead, but he's sitting on a decent lead. He's only been to 5 nationals, so that leaves you an opportunity to improve. Some of the guys that are chasing him, obviously you look at Al Kenny that's in 3rd, and even Baby Larice who's in 4th place, that's got 2 races to claim. 2 races to claim is great, but trying to make up 100 points is difficult. I mean, it's, a couple of the guys are down to where if you want to do something, you basically have to win out. And not impossible, but very difficult task.
And in top sportsman, who was it? Oh, I just had the same problem you had, man. It backpedaled on me. But it's Ronnie Proctor. And Ronnie, we just saw Ronnie down there in the winner's circle out at Charlotte. And 589 to 575, J.R. Lobner and Doug Crumlich with 570, all with the same amount of races run to this point.
Yeah, they all have the opportunity to claim one more national and the Vegas divisional. So, that one will come down to there, and they've all got some room to move. So that one is a ways from over. But if Proctor decides to make the trip out west, he's running well right now. And as well as I do, it's kind of a momentum sport. When you got it going on and you got things going your way, sometimes it's very difficult to beat a guy who's in that position. So hopefully that one will come down. Not hopefully, that one will definitely come down to the Vegas regional before we know whose name to engrave on the trophy.
Which is good. That's what we want. Now, let's talk about travel plans a little bit, Alan. I know what you're probably going to say here. Like, you could sit home and hope you don't get passed watching NHRA All Access. I bet that would feel very uncomfortable, though, as opposed to these, once-in-a-lifetime opportunities to compete for world championships. You load up the trailer, you head out west of Vegas, and at least you're in the middle of it, fighting for it.
I've seen guys do it both ways, and I've seen it work out, sometimes positive and sometimes negative. But the situation is, if you sat down at the beginning of the year and you set your travel schedule and you set everything and you figured out your budget and your time off work and you said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And then you get to this point of the year and go, okay, there's my total. Somebody come take it away from me. Or if you can, if you have the resources, you have the ability to take the time off work and make it happen, then you go to chase. And, I've seen it work. Like I said, I've seen guys be successful both ways with that. I would much rather be racing for it than sit home. But, if you're sitting home listening to All Access and a guy's got to go 6 rounds, that's a tough task for anybody. And maybe you just sit home and let the cards fall where they fall.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be able to sit there and just watch all day, though. I think I'd have to go mow the lawn or find something to do because it would be gut-wrenching. So there it is. There's our look. Go ahead.
The beauty of it is, Joe, in this day and age, you don't have to sit and watch. Because as soon as it happens, your phone's going to blow up. You're going to get 17 text messages that say, dude, congratulations, you're the champ, or, wow, dude, that really sucked. So you don't have to waste any time on it. Somebody's going to get the word to you as quick as possible.
Yeah, no, technology, absolute fact. Now, I do want to discuss the Mellow Yellow Series, but there is a story that's been percolating for a long time. And we're going to talk about it with Bobby Bennett a little bit later. I don't know that I don't want to say we have done the most exhaustive reporting on this. That's not necessarily the truth. But we have spent a lot of time talking pro stock here on WFO Radio over the years. And as, the formula and the fuel injection and what should be done and what do we want to be done and asking all the guests and all of this stuff over a long time, recently there was discussion of integrating Mountain Motor Pro stocks into 500 cubic inch Pro stock. Up until very recently, there was discussion that they were going to try to equalize the two and run them next year. And last weekend, Bobby Bennett spoke to Ned. Ned said, not going to happen. And that plan is now not on the books anymore. Maybe an exhibition, but not able to run them together. What do you think? What do you know?
I think that that's the right decision based on the information that I have, and I also applaud NHRA for taking a look at it. You know, there's a lot of people that would take a look at that and go, well, it's impossible, you'll never make it work. And there's a lot of people that go, oh, well, you know, hey, it's easy, just add in 900 pounds to those guys or whatever. But it's not that easy on either side. So, you know, NHRA reached out to the Mountain Motor Group, invited them to come out and do some exhibition runs, invited them to come back and do some testing. And they were enthusiastic about it. We were enthusiastic about it. But it comes down to the point that it just isn't reasonably easy to do without somebody on one side or the other spending a whole bunch more money. And, you know, since Pro Stock has rules about things like fuel and things like tires and various stuff, if you brought in the Mountain Motor guys and said, okay, well, you don't have to run our fuel, you don't have to run our tires, then, you know, our Pro Stock guys are going to be up in arms over, you know, hey, you know, our cars would be better if you'd let us do that too. And so making the transition just was going to be difficult no matter what. I applaud NHRA for taking the time and the effort. I applaud the Mountain Motor guys for coming out and being willing to experiment. But even if it comes down to a deal where it's like, well, just add 500 pounds to the cars, what's the big deal? Well, now every Mountain Motor guy out there has to go out and spend literally thousands of dollars buying new gear ratios, buying new rear differentials, buying all of this stuff, because you wouldn't set up a 2,800-pound car on as far as a gear ratio basis the same way that you set up a 2,300-pound car. So it's a massive amount of expense for however many races they were going to go do anyway. And at the end of the day, you know, you do your due diligence, you study, you do what you can, and then you decide either this is feasible or it's not feasible. And the decision was made that it's not feasible. So I think, you know, NHRA did their due diligence. They did what they needed to do. They went out and tried it, not just sat down on paper, not just talked to guys, not just threw their hands up in the air. They got together with the racers. They went out and tried it and came to the conclusion that it's not going to be a simple changeover to make this happen. So, you know, on to the next thing. And I heard the same thing that you just mentioned a couple minutes ago, the possibility of them coming back, doing some exhibition stuff, running as part of our show somewhere in the future. That door has certainly been opened and is going to stay open. So hopefully NHRA fans will have an opportunity to see the Mountain Motor guys in action again. It just won't be head-to-head against our guys.
Yeah, there it is. And again, I agree. I love the way you said it. Did what they had to do to investigate, and unfortunately it just wasn't able to work out. But credit to all involved for giving it a ride, trying it. I was one of the people that I didn't see it. Like, I don't know. I just don't see how you're going to be able to do it. Hopefully they have another level of something to try, you know, something to go to, a next plan. I don't know what it is, what their plan is. Obviously, I will be, you know, keeping my ear open. But I'm still a hardcore fan of Pro Stock. I still love the cars, and I understand the challenges. So hopefully they can continue to come up with a next thing to try.
Well, the discussions between the NHRA Pro Stock racers and the NHRA management are ongoing. I know, you know, Jerry Haas was at the racetrack this weekend in Madison because that's basically his home track, and he's out there taking care of his top sportsman customers and the others. He's got 2 new Pro Stock cars that he's going to put in his trailer, come out and deliver to Las Vegas. So it's not like everybody's just, you know, going to go to sleep and disappear. There are at least a couple of players that are looking at getting into the field. Engine availability from a lease standpoint is better than it's ever been right now. And, you know, I think I hope some of the guys that are out there spending a lot of money to run in Top Sportsman or in Comp or in whatever, take a look at it and go, you know what? What if we took the budget we have, and what if we went and ran 8 Pro Stock races or 10 Pro Stock races instead of what we're doing now? And I'm certainly not trying to take competitors away from another class, but, you know, there's a lot of guys out there who, if you're a gasoline stick shift kind of guy, you know, Pro Stock is your ultimate. There are a lot of racers out there that don't have the desire to go nitro racing, don't have the desire to go alcohol racing. Their ultimate goal is pro stock. That is the top of the line as far as a naturally aspirated, gear shifted real car. Now, Top Sportsman has certainly, garnered some of those guys because they're able to get into that and go fast and be competitive, but it still isn't pro stock. And there are a number of guys that are spending the money that they could race 8 races, 10 races a year in pro stock in competitive equipment, as opposed to what they're doing now. And hopefully a few of those will take a look. I mean, I know, there's certainly some cars out there that the car could be switched over without a tremendous expense. There are a number of Top Sportsman cars that are former pro stock cars, so they could go back if need be. Or if you look at what these guys are spending for their Top Sportsman chassis, they're basically a pro mod car. If you're going to update that, you could buy a pro stock car for basically the same expense. And I think that there's guys that are going to start taking a look at that. We might have, a few more part-time cars, but I think that'd be great if we end up with 16 or 17, 18 at every race. Even if 6 or 8 of them are not running for points, they're just out there on a regional or on a part-time basis. I think that'd be terrific.
I agree. Got to keep the category alive. That is it. Figure out what will work. I was wondering, I did a mini thought experiment about the carburetors. Like, all right, we've done the transition to fuel injection, and we thought it was going to do things that maybe it didn't do, but it did some good things as well, making the cars relevant, all of that. But why not, if we're going to try to equalize a mountain motor pro stocker, how about we just try to equalize a carbureted 500 cubic inch pro stocker? And on all these carburetors that are lying around that everybody has, and maybe certain guys just refuse to take the step with fuel injection, how about we let those guys back in?
My knee-jerk reaction is if you did that, everybody'd have carburetors back and you'd never see another fuel-injected pro stocker.
Really? Okay, all right.
Yeah, and I think that at that point, it's like, okay, well, now everybody just spent however many dollars on stuff that you're throwing away and stuff that, you can't even sell. The upside of when the transition went from carburetors to the fuel injection, there are still guys that want those carburetors, and pro stock carburetors are they're works of art. They are about as far from off the shelf or out of the box as you can get. So even though there was definitely some expense to the teams in making the change over to fuel injection, they at least had something that they could sell that would offset some of that expense. But if you made the move back, I just don't see it. And that's my knee-jerk reaction. But perhaps I'm missing something, or perhaps there's more to the story that I'm not aware of. That's just my first thought.
Got it. No, absolutely got it. All right, so this weekend, Vegas Mellow Yellow Series, Steve Torrence, Tanner Gray have a chance to actually clinch. The E3 Sparkplugs Pro Modified Series will conclude. So we have got championships that may be decided. In Funny Car and in Funny Car, we will not see a championship clinched, nor in Pro Stock Motorcycle. But there is an opportunity to see 2 of the categories, in spite of 1.5 points at Pomona, just dominant seasons by Tanner and Steve. If they can do a couple of things, they could lock it down.
Yeah, I think Steve certainly has a better chance of doing it than Tanner, since nobody's basically even scored on him so far in the countdown to the championship. But it's you're right. I think Jason kicking the door open, Jason Line winning pro stock at the last event, which now runs our season total to 10 different drivers. Drew Stillman has announced that he won't be back full time next year. I guarantee you he's hungry to get one before it's over with. I can see Steve Torrence locking it up. I really can't see Tanner doing it, just because more things have to fall in place for Tanner to do it than for Steve. I do believe that Tanner's going to be the champion at the end of the year once it's all said and done, but I just don't see him locking it up in Vegas.
Got it. Now, Vegas, let's get in on that, because there's a lot of cool extra stuff going on associated with it. The Toyota Nationals, this is 2-wide racing, not 4-wide racing, but this is one where everyone wears their Halloween costumes, and it's before SEMA, and all kinds of fun stuff, including the Fan Fest at the Fremont Street Experience.
Yeah, and I will be down there for that, as will a number of drivers. I don't have a complete list, but you can check it out on NHRA.com. I'm not 100% sure that's a complete list either, simply because there's so many racers that want to go. It's interesting, a number of places where we go on tour where you talk to the racers and go, hey, okay, we're going to do this thing. How'd you like to come out? And it's like, well, gee, I've got a sponsored dinner, or, gee, I've already made other plans or something. But when it comes to Vegas, that's the one time that the racers are all calling going, what time you want me there? I'll be there. simply because Fremont Street is just such a fun place to hang out. They treat us absolutely like royalty whenever we come down there. The fans just flock to the place. And watching the video go across the ceiling of Fremont Street, if you've never been to Fremont Street, there's basically a 2-block-long video screen that is the ceiling. It's the roof over the place. And when they run the NHRA videos and you watch dragsters, funny cars, pro stockers racing across the ceiling for 2 blocks with the complete surround sound system they have, it's pretty special. And it's a great place to get a jump on your autograph hunting for the weekend.
Awesome stuff from 5 to 7, Thursday, October 25th. The autograph session is 5:30 to 6:30. Just some of the drivers that are promoted as being there: Steve, Antron, Erica, Robert Height, Matt Smith, to name just a few. And I'm going to try to pop by after our Thursday activity out at the track. Alan, great job as usual. Any final thoughts, any final points you want to make before we get ready for Vegas, baby?
I just can't believe that we're down to Vegas, Pomona. We always start the year in Pomona and go, okay, boy, it's going to be a long and winding road as we go from here to there to here to there. And then you wake up one day and go, wow, we're already in Seattle. And then it seems like 2 days later, it's like, what are we doing in Indy? And now there's just 2 nationals and 1 big regional left to go in the season. It's been a heck of a ride so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out.
Absolutely. As am I. It's going to be great. Alan, great job. I'll see you in Vegas.
All right, Joe, travel safe. I'll see you in a couple days.
There he goes, the voice of the NHRA. Alan Reinhart joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. Vegas, baby. Who's going? Who's going out to Vegas? I'll be there. And hopefully we have lots of time to go and do fun stuff in between and all the different, rafter racing and all of that. I doubt it. But that Thursday Night Fan Fest, I will be out there. All right, on the show, we got Tim Wilkerson, we got Sean Bellemeur, we got Bobby Bennett, all coming up, plus some thoughts in my time at the tail end of the show. Right now, I want to tell you about motorsportsguys.com. Open a browser, go to the website, bookmark the website. That's number one. They got all kinds of great stuff, parts, pieces, K&N, air filters, pretty much everything you need you can get at motorsportsguys.com. And the Vegas Win Tribute hat for Terry McMillan is, why wouldn't you get it? When you get your next oil change there. And that's the point. They got Amalie motor oil. They got the 70 weight that they use in Top Fuel with Molly to avoid those drop cylinder moments. But they've also got 2050, 1030, 520. You can get the filter there and everything for your car. It shows up in the mail, and it's easy. Add the Vegas Win Tribute hat. Use the promo code WFO, and you're rolling. Plus, they got K&N filters. They got All-Star Performance Racing, high-performance products from Motor State Distributing and Lane Automotive. A lot of cool stuff on the site. Things that I didn't know what it was. Like, what is this? And it's for dirt late models. They've got a lot of racing stuff on there. Go to motorsportsguys.com. They've got Amalie motor oil, which is better than it has to be since 1903. Most importantly, you're supporting Terry McMillan, the Amalie motor oil exterminator, and WFO Radio all together. Big thanks to Terry for supporting the show. And he is looking to go back-to-back in Vegas, baby. Vegas. Get you that Vegas Win Tribute hat by using the promo code WFO at checkout at motorsportsguys.com. When we come back, Tim Wilkerson, where are Wilkes Warriors at? We're going to talk with Tim about it coming up after this.
This is WFO Radio.
Right now, I want to tell you about new sponsor, audible.com/WFO Nitro. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. And you might be thinking, well, what is Audible.com? And the fact is, listen, you guys are listeners. You listen like me. People who like to listen to something while they're driving, while they're on a plane. Maybe it's not music. Sometimes you want your brain to be activated in a different way. And that's where Audible.com/WFO Nitro comes in. It's anytime, anywhere listening. You can listen to your books wherever you are with their free app at home, in the car, at the gym. You can even switch devices and you'll never lose your place. They've got the biggest selection ever. No one's got more listens than Audible. You don't like one? No questions asked. Return it means exchange is easy. Go to audible.com/WFO Nitro. That is our own link specifically for you WFO radio listeners. Go on there, get your free trial, and try it out. Especially everybody that's in the NHRA that's traveling all over the place. Let's get an education together. Let's learn about stuff. And check out audible.com/WFO Nitro. And thank you very much to the folks at Audible for jumping on with our podcast.
Get fired up on the WFO line.
WFO, Joe.
954-889-6796.
Just been an absolute joy to be a drag racing fan.
Go wide open, and your call may be used on the show.
Or preface by saying I'm not a Kurt Busch fan or apologist. I don't know where Greg Anderson's ego is gone, but I know one person that's going to be a big-time villain in pro stock.
That's 954-889-6796. That phone line is always WFO.
Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets. You got to call David directly. 724-318-8292. Hussey Performance Copperhead Gaskets for you engine builders out there. These guys are supporting WFO. Check them out. It is husseyperformance.net.
Subscribe to WFO Radio on iTunes. Never miss a show. And don't forget to write a review. WFO.
CatSpotLitter.com. Got to check them out. And, of course, think about getting a cat. There's so many little kitties out there that need a home. They need a home. But it's the litter. No, now you've got CatSpotLitter.com. So check it out. Cat Litter, new supporter of WFO Radio.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Welcome back to NHRA Nitro.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Vegas, baby, Vegas. Vegas, Pomona, that's it. I'm going to be out there for Vegas. And SEMA, I'm going to fly back to Miami for like 3 days to take care of some stuff and then back out to Pomona for the Auto Club Finals. One of these years, I imagine I will try to stay out for the whole thing. But as I am packing and preparing for 11 days in Vegas, it will be a great challenge. It will be a great challenge. And so a lot of fun going to be had. A lot of fun. So we got Wilkerson coming up, but right now I want to tell you about samtech.edu, the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Start your education at full speed. We're talking about Samtech. They've got Motorsport EFI. They've got Blockhead and CNC programs. They've got everything you could possibly want. If you're looking to start a career in racing, they have got connections. They know people that can place you in positions that you will be able to get out there and get the job done. Go to samtech.edu. Give them a call. Tell them you heard it about on WFO Radio and start thinking about your future. They are a military-friendly school. They're approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. They've got lab classes, dyno classes, but of course, you get to work on race cars, and that is the big part of it. Becoming a high-performance engine builder is something that you can't really outsource or downsize. It's going to be about what you want to do. CNC machinists, very much in demand, and they've got connections at big companies like Boeing. So go to samtech.edu today. Brian Massengale and the family, big supporters of WFO Radio, and of course the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown. Samtech.edu. Start your education at full speed. All right, time to get into it. Joining us now, he is 111 points out of the lead in the Nitro Funny Car category. I believe he still has a chance and is the final of the drivers that does still have a chance to get this thing done with a little help. He joins us now, Tim Wilkerson. Tim, welcome back to WFO. How are you?
Hey, hi, buddy. How are you, man?
I'm great. All right, so do you think you still have a shot at this championship?
Of course. Yeah. We need a little bit of luck, but a couple years ago, well, I guess it was 10 years ago now, that's how old I am, Cruz went into Vegas about in the same spot, so it didn't look like he had much of a chance of beating me, and he ended up winning the whole thing by winning the last two races and me going out early, so you never know what'll happen.
You never know what'll happen. And it's got to make you feel better that you seem to be running the best you have all year long. Would you agree with that? And why is that?
Well, it's just, really more than anything, it's kind of fun. I don't know if I've talked to you about this at all, but JC and I talked about that, Tommy Johnson's crew chief, After the first weekend there, we qualified second or third, I think, at Reading. And he's like, damn, Wilkerson. I said, here's the way I look at this, dude. I'm in last place. I got no place to go but up. So why would I go to the starting line shy any run? After Dallas, he comes up to me and he goes, I like your attitude. I'm adopting the same one. I think that's cool. So you see what he did after that. He was number one qualifier a couple times.
Now, how does that translate in that, these are parts and pieces and they do what you tell them to do. It's not a fight. And yet it sounds like being more aggressive is something that works, that you can do. Like, can you explain how that affects what the car does?
Well, I mean, I think more than anything is just not being shy. Like I said, we go up there now and we're going to get every ounce the track will give us. And I think during the countdown and before the countdown, you tend to be a little more, race savvy. We laugh in our pit area. We call it the Grubnik syndrome. You know what I mean? Where you go up there and you go, well, if everybody else can go, I'm using dragster terms. If everybody else can go 375, I can go 370. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and that's kind of what we've been doing. We go up there and we see everybody go, 391, 390, 392. We try to go 387. And we've done that a couple times. So it's been kind of fun.
It has been fun. It's been fun for us to watch. And the struggles of the start of the season, do they seem like a million years ago, or do you remember them very well? You're sitting fourth in the points, but the first half or the first third of your season was really a struggle, and then you guys found something.
Yeah, we were just dismal. I mean, we just really couldn't do anything right, and truthfully, it was just the whole chemistry of the whole team more than anything that wasn't working out right. You know what I mean? So I just got everybody together and I got a little more involved in everything. And when you're missing one key guy, like what really happened to us there at the beginning of the year, it just took us longer to overcome that than I thought. So, but the guys they've kind of stepped up and they're kind of really paying attention more than anything. That's I've kind of convinced them that that's more important than they believe. So.
Well, it works. It works. Well, you've got a good chemistry, it seems like, with you and Richard. Richard, who was my human shield a couple of races ago, I ran and had. I had no idea that affected.
Told me that.
I had no idea it affected him so much.
Yeah, he didn't. He told me he didn't know you were such a chicken. I said, well, he's a radio guy.
That's it.
Radio guys got to be. They're not out there throwing punches or diving off the top of the stage with their elbow in somebody's chest. Come on.
No, man. Did you see Mouth of the South Hart? Come on, with the megaphone, he would always run away. There you go. But, it's interesting to see that chemistry can be that important in a sport like this, and that once you kind of got everybody on the same page, you guys have gone on a performance run to make the countdown, and it seemed like that made you the team that you are in the countdown. You had your back against the wall for longer than these 6 races.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly true. We really, truthfully, Joe, didn't do a very good job in the middle of the year, and when we decided that we were done doing that way, things really have turned around, and we've got a lot of notice from fans. I noticed that. I have a lot of people come up to me and go, man, we're sure glad we're just not watching the Don Schumacher, John Force show. And so I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, no, that is a big deal. We got to have the privateer teams. And as I do the pit tour, people are interested. They like the fact that you're out there in this battle. So let me ask you something that I'm not exactly sure of, and I want to know the answer. There's a lot of debate about 6-disc versus 5-disc and who's moving back and who's staying the same, and can you use it? The track prep is different. There's that whole conversation. Where do you lie in that conversation? Are you 5? Are you 6? Are you staying with 6? What's the story?
Yeah, no, I'm a 6-disc car. So, it's kind of funny. Todd Smith and I talked about that a little bit in the middle of the year, because when them guys were all talking about switching back, and none of us could really understand why you would want to do that. But boy, them guys are good at it. I will give them that all that Schumacher group is whatever they figured out or stumbled onto a couple years ago when the track was good. They've still been able to adapt that into what we're doing now, because obviously the track's a little better now, but in the middle of the year, I really thought the 6-disc was still the king, but them guys do a good job with it. But, like J.R. Todd's car, it's still got a 6-disc in it also. So,
sure.
You got the top 4 cars, 2 or 5, and Robert's still got a 6-disc too. So,
yes.
Caps is the only guy in the top 5 with a 5-disc clutch. So, and obviously Tobler is the genius on that. He was the first guy to go back, but I don't know. I'm still not convinced that's the way to go. As smart as that 6-disc make me look, I believe I would look just as dumb with a 5-disc. So,
yeah. Robert has 6, JR has 6, Caps has 5, you have 6, Tommy Johnson has 5. And Courtney, I would
5,
imagine.
So we're 3 and 2. So I forgot Tommy's right behind me.
Right behind you.
Courtney was just ahead of him.
But I think at 111 back, you're the guy that's got the last legitimate shot. Because we talk about it all the time, it's not so much how many points you are behind, it's how many people are in front of you. Caps, JR, height. You're gonna need some help, Tim. You're gonna need some help. How can you plan this out? Are you going for the qualifying points to try to bring it down within a certain amount of rounds? Are you just gonna play qualifying like normal and hope you get some help in a race? Is there a way to work the ladder game to try to get next to a Robert Hight or a J.R. Todd? How are you going to handle this?
Yeah, we talked about that. Even sandbagging and qualifying and seeing where J.R. and Robert end up to see if we could actually run them first round. I know that sounds kind of hokey, but I really don't. I don't know any other way to do it. But I really don't know that there's any other cars that you can count on now. Beckman and Hagan and Courtney and John Force. I mean, them guys, any of them guys could beat any of us in first round. So you've seen, Robert and Beckman had a great race first round at
Charlotte.
At Charlotte there.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I just don't want to get myself in that situation. I'd rather qualify high and race a car that I would have a little better chance of beating first round, because usually the track gets a little bit crummier second and third round. You know what I mean? When you're racing other people, but at Charlotte, it didn't. I mean, it was spectacular there all weekend. So Vegas, I think, could be a different story. I guess we'll see. I mean, different between a 120-degree track and a 105-degree track is a ton. So, especially with this track prep. But I don't know. I guess we'll find out,
We will find out. Now, something that happened out there at Charlotte, I wanted to bring up just because I think it's insightful to the audience in that we think of you, I think of you as a, positive guy, good sense of humor, got a good fan base, doing it for the right reasons, all of those things, right? NHRA, they have, their media relations group. They're always trying to do things for the fans. And they did this NHRA Today show, and they had who they felt were the championship contenders up on the stage to do a quick interview with Brian Lohnes. And when you got out of the car, you mentioned it. You said, it was on your mind. And I thought, wow, this guy was motivated by that. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I got this text message that we're gonna have the top three in each class on the NHRA Today show, right? Well, things go on and go on and go on and go on. Well, I never get a message that I need to be there, so I thought, well, that's interesting. So when I listened to it on the radio, they just have JR and Robert on there. I'm like, well, what in the smell's up with that? You know what I mean? That kind of pissed me off a little bit. I'm like, well, I've been running good all the whole countdown, and they could have had me or Tommy or any of us on there, really, right? So just to shake it up. But I thought, well, if that's the way it's going to be, then we'll just put that in our hat and we'll remember that. There might be some payback from that. You never know.
Well, and exactly. And sometimes I think that people, and I'm not speaking for anybody in particular, but just generally, that, drivers are busy, and drivers, like any media responsibility, is a net negative to the overall cause, because you guys would rather be thinking about the car and working on the car.
Right.
But in this case, though, they were connected.
Yeah, probably. But that's okay. That's all right. I mean, everybody's got their they probably assume that there was the only two cars that are going to have a chance at it, because they have been the best two cars in the countdown. I'll give you that. But, we'll see.
I love it.
I'm like you. I'm a little more optimistic.
Well, listen, that's exactly right. There are 10 rounds remaining because Pomona is points and a half. That points and a half thing, that is why you are alive, the way I look at it.
Yeah.
Caps,
I believe you. I think probably right.
Ron Capps as well, and he went out there, won the last race. You performed well. It's just one of those nip-tuck situations. You got to string together. You need a win somewhere, and you need some help.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I don't know. I sold a car to Bob Bodie, and he's coming out to Vegas and Pomona both. And I've already told him that he may end up with an engine combination and a clutch combination right out of my car in his car. So
there you go.
Said, that'd be really cool. So
yeah, of course he thinks that.
We'll
He'll
see.
go out there, run some high 80s, and
Yeah.
hold on.
Yep.
I like it.
He's got the same exact car I have, so it's very easily done.
That is great stuff. Tim, I know you're busy. I want to thank you for coming on the show, spending a little time with us. Get Wilkes Warriors all fired up. Still in the championship hunt. 2 races remaining. Anything can happen. That is the whole point of the countdown. It's been very exciting watching you. Obviously we want you to do well in 2019 as well, but this isn't over. Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for spending a little time with WFO.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your support, Joe, and all your fans. I appreciate them too, more than you know. It makes it real special for us when people go, man, we're sure happy to see you up there. So, taking nothing away from JR or Robert, because those guys are really running good, no doubt about it.
They are. And this is it. This is what a championship fight is supposed to be about, but you have made a statement just by being in the top 5, but it's not over yet. Climb as high as you can. Tim, thank you so much for being on the show. I'll see you in Vegas.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Tim. Tim Wilkerson with us here on WFO Radio, and someday I will play the audio of the conversation that happens before the conversation. When I'm getting him on the phone, Tim is a special kind of humor. He is a special kind of guy. Let's just say that. Good luck to Tim. I want to see a race of it. I want to see a battle. Richard Hartman does a great job. So many people doing a great job on that team. I wish them the best of luck. It's going to be a battle to the end. Certainly been running well all year long. Sean Bellemeur going to be up next, but right now I want to tell you about Marvin Rodak and Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com. Marvin, he has got the bug big time. He has been crewing on Alcohol Funny Cars and so much good stuff going on. The fact that he has been totally integrated into the NHRA experience has been great, and the WFO radio listeners, similar situation. Look, I know it's that time of year where you're starting to think about holiday gifts, and I want you to know that we have got you totally covered here on WFO Radio. Not only will you be supporting the sponsors and helping them out, because they help us out, but also the people who are going to be receiving these gifts will really love it, genuinely. Rodak's Coffee is a perfect example. We've got the holiday packs, which is a pound of coffee, a bottle of hot sauce, and a container of spice rub. Everything good. These people are going to be using this for the next 6 months or so, at least the hot sauce and the spice rub, depending on how much they go through. And they'll think about you every single time. Call Marvin. Just do that. They've got the 11-ounce coffee mugs. They've got tools. They've got recipes. They've got all of it. They've got exotic coffees. But give them a call and tell them what you're thinking. 817-924-6821. That's 817-924-6821. Located in Fort Worth, Texas. They sell grills down there. If you're in Texas, you're going to get a grill. You should definitely go see Marvin. They've also got the Coffee Club experience where Marvin picks the coffee and just sends it out, and you can just enjoy coffees of the world thanks to Marvin. Rodak's Coffee and Grills.com, 817-924-6821, and tell them you heard it on WFO. When we come back, it's going to be the champ, Sean Bellemeur, after this.
It ain't just wide open, it's WFO.
Hey everybody, this is Joe Castello. When I'm at the racetrack, I am always checking out the cars to see what's hot, what's cool, what is the nicest and best and most effective part piece out there. And what I am finding is that the folks at Aerospace Components have got it going on. They've been in business for over 30 years. Everything is made in America, and they are family-owned and operated. Aerospace Components is a name known throughout the racing industry as one of the leaders in manufacturing high-performance drag racing products. Their Tampa Bay area facility is equipped with state-of-the-art CNC machining centers and inspection equipment. You got to get it right. They get it right. They have racers all over the country that run their brakes, shifters, vacuum pumps, water pumps. They do so many different things. And if you go to their website right now, Aerospace Components, you can check out exactly what I'm talking about. And if you want your front brake calipers in pink or aqua or green, they can do that too. Check it out. That's aerospacecomponents.com. Check out the website and let them know you heard it on WFO.
Download the WFO Radio app It's sports radio for racing fans.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
The ultimate racing show, including WFO Radio NHRA Nitro, WFO Radio Ignition, the WFO Radio NASCAR Tailgate Party, news, videos, push notifications, and more.
I just hope I'm part of it.
Go to the App Store or Android Market. Search WFO Radio and download it now.
Now, though, I want to tell you about Hangstafers, metalworking lubricants. The folks at Hangstafers on board with big racers like Antron Brown and Lucas Oil Series, sportsman racers in the Racing RVs Top Dragster category. And their number one goal at Hangstafers is to increase the productivity in the shop. Metalworking lubricants, coolants, all kinds of stuff. You got to go to the website and check them out. And so go to hangstafers.com to find out more information. Alan Reinhart always says, like, the one thing that DSR and JFR have in common is Hangstafers metalworking lubricants. We're happy to have them on board, happy to have them helping our WFO radio listeners in their shop. Hangstafers metalworking lubricants, trying to make you a little more efficient in the shop.
WFO Radio is brought to you in part by Extreme Velocity 3 Drag Racing. Download for your mobile device. Win your way on the show. WFO.
Now back to WFO Radio NHRA Nitro.
The NHRA Nitro podcast continues through the off-season, through the winter break, through the months known as November and December. And I will be doing some racing of my own car right after Thanksgiving, and I'm hoping to have better results than I did last year where we chased a problem. It is my belief that the problem has been found, and I will be able to go out there and compete and be competitive. I am going to do a lot of Facebook Lives, and I'm going to do a lot of social media surrounding that. I want to get back to the point where I'm actually driving and competing and prove to myself that I can still go out and turn on some win lights. And I am looking forward to do that at the Citrus Nationals in West Palm Beach. But that is still a long way away. We still have tickets to Ford Championship Weekend, the NASCAR season finale at Homestead Miami Speedway. You would have to listen to the Ignition show or just email me, joe@wforadio.com. If you're going to be in the area, in the South Florida area, and you're thinking about, man, I'd love to go to the final NASCAR race of the season, by all means, the folks at Homestead Miami Speedway, hook us up when it comes to WFO Radio. Check it out. But right now, I want to tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Speaking of hooking it up, Frank Hawley has created an adventure for you and your friends and whoever you want to get in on this. It's called the Dragster Adventure, and it allows you to drive a dragster. Here's what you got to do. Give them a call, 866-480-7223. Of course, they got licensing courses for Super Gas and Super Comp and even Alcohol Funny Car. You can do all of that. But the Dragster Adventure, that is a holiday gift. You can get a gift certificate for your favorite adrenaline junkie. You give it to them. It's a surprise. They're going to be like, what, really? And you're going to be like, yeah, you're doing it. And they're like, oh, man, that's great. And you're going to be like, yeah, that's because I love you, man. And they're going to be like, oh, that's cool. Thank you. And I'll go next year. And then they pick it out. 866-480-7223. That's right. We just did a whole skit. You and the recipient of the gift. And that was supposed to be happiness. They were happy with you. 866-480-7223. Give them a call. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio. Investigate the Dragster Adventure. I can tell you the 2019 dates. They've already got booked through October. They'll be out there at Auto Club Dragway in October 2019. 20 seats available. Maple Grove 2019. Guess what? They've already sold some spots. So you need to get in on it. This is not something you want to wait. Get in, do it, plan it. March 29th, Gainesville, Florida. 13 seats remaining. Dragster Adventure. Get on it. Call him. Frank Hawley, big supporter of WFO Radio. And big thanks to them for supporting WFO. All right. Let's keep moving here on NHRA Nitro as we're getting ready for Vegas, baby. Vegas, SEMA after Vegas, then Vegas again, then Pomona. But this is going to be our first 2018 Lucas Oil Series Championship interview. We promoted it last week. He is back this week, but this time as the 2018 Top Alcohol Funny Car Lucas Oil Series champion. Joining us now, Sean Bellemeur. Sean, welcome back to WFO. Congratulations.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me. I got to tell you, when I pulled off the racetrack in Charlotte and and you said that to me, I was speechless for a second. I had to kind of take it in. In fact, I think I even asked you to say it again because it's been such a dogfight this year, and so many good cars. Physically, it's taxing. Mentally, it's taxing, and just to finally tie it all up, boy, it was what a moment for sure. It was something I'll never forget.
Wow, listen, I agree, myself included. Like, I will never forget it as well. The idea that I'm down there and a regular human just became a champion from one moment to the next, and seeing you and seeing the guys come down there, embrace you, knowing all the work that had happened and seeing all the pomp and circumstance behind the scenes, like, this guy's a champion now. That was really a great experience. You handled it well. The interview was perfect. Everything was perfect. And, how do you feel? Do you feel different? You're a champion now.
It's funny because I was talking to my wife about this, and it was in Bakersfield with my boss's nostalgia car last weekend. A lot of people were coming up congratulating us, and nostalgia racing is where I got my start, and so after junior dragsters, and so it was really neat to see the response from that community. But I got to tell you, it's funny being raised out here in California, seeing the first race of the year being the Winter Nationals and the last race of the year being the World Finals, having been in the stands so many times for World Championships that come down to the last round or the last day. It almost didn't even feel like, I don't want to say it didn't feel right, but it didn't feel like we weren't at Pomona. So did we really win it? And it's funny because I think that'll be the closure to really make it a reality is when we step through the gates at Pomona, because for years growing up, that's been the place where the champions are made. And, it's something that I've worked for my whole life. I mean, I talk about dreams a lot, and it was a dream to even get to drive a race car. I was raised around alcohol funny cars, and my mom and dad built a car and made that a dream a reality. And then getting hired by Tony and winning a national event, that was a dream. And then Indy happened. And I mean, that, I tend to get emotional in my interviews, and I just, maybe that's why I sometimes don't say the right thing or not, but I just let the words roll out because that's all I know how to do. And that this season, and heck, it's not even over yet. Maybe we still got some more to do, but I have a picture on my phone that a friend of mine took of the national champion. It says 2018 Top Alcohol Funny Car Lucas Oil World Champion, and the picture is at Charlotte of it sitting on a table, and I'm just standing there looking at it. That's the one that kind of gets the hair raised up on the back of my neck and kind of brings reality to it all. So it's been a dream. I just hope to keep living in it. Oh yeah, well, I hope so too for you and for the sport of NHRA drag racing. When I see what you've been able to do, and I'm a little bit of a cheerleader for you and the top alcohol categories because I think they're awesome. The more I've gotten to know the people personally, I think they're more awesome because of what it takes. And watching you a couple of years back go from occasional to part-time to, hey, we're going to try to make a championship run with this team, and then to accomplish it and to go out and win the Gator Nationals, to go out and win the U.S. Nationals, to go out and win the championship. You've got 818 points. I mean, as far as claim-wise, this is domination. I know you said it was like a battle, and of course it was. Shane Westerfield, Danny Whiteley, Chris Marshall. Along the way, it has been a battle, but really the points say you dominated. I want you to continue on in your career. You're obviously good for the sport of drag racing. This has been an amazing run so far. I appreciate that, Joe. And, it's as far as the competition goes, I mean, you named a few of the hitters, and that's just a small handful of the hitters. I mean, some of the races we've had with Doug Gordon this year, and for years I've raced Doug Gordon. It seems like, thousandth here, thousandth there. But, one of the things a question I get asked a lot is who do I look up to in the big show stuff. And one person I mention a lot is Ron Capps. And the reason I like Capps so much is because he just flat loves to drive. And I compare myself a lot to that because, short of playing with my wife and kids, the happiest I am in this whole wide world is being strapped in that funny car. I joke with the guys on the radio. I mean, we literally, backing up from the burnout, I'm telling the guys jokes and they're calling me fat, and it's just a great time. And these, that's what this is all about. I absolutely 100% love driving funny cars. And it makes me smile to think about the fact that I even get to do it. and then sprinkle on the top that a guy named Steve Boggs is turning the screws for it. It's never dull in there. I'll say that as an understatement. It's Steve Boggs has a lot of things he likes to try, and some are unorthodox and some aren't. And boy, is effing, it keeps you on your toes every time. And I welcome the challenge. I love it. And, where this sport takes me, I don't know. What I do know is that I love it right this second. And boy, it's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be a part of. And, Joe, you talk about, the people and the alcohol racers. And I want to give a shout out to Bob McCosh. I met Bob and hung out with his team and family a little bit in Charlotte. And they made that deal. I mean, I'd known these people a day, and they made that championship so special. And it's another racer, somebody we compete against. And when I turned off the racetrack when you were down there, I actually I saw the championship board, and Bob had run right in front of us with him and Fred Hagen's car, and their whole team was lined up clapping. And I just sat in the car for a second. I just watched that. That is something I will never. I have a perfect visual of that, and I'll never forget it. And it just, that's somebody who I've known for a day. And there's so many people in this sport that are like that. And it's a really special thing. In fact, funny story about people. When I got married, I actually had to call Mike Rice, the Division 7 director, and ask him what the schedule for the next year was going to be so I could plan my wedding around races, because everybody who's going to be at my wedding was going to be at a race too. So, that's the family nature of it out here. It's so fun to be a part of.
Oh, yeah. Well, Andy Boll had been defeated by you. First guy comes over, and I looked at it, looked in his eyes, and genuine, man, this is a moment. And I think, and I'm just going to kind of analyze here, Alcohol Funny Car, again, such a great category, so challenging, a lot of personalities that this might be their highest level aspiration. Whereas in the dragsters, there are a lot of people that aspire to go top fuel racing, and that's the way to get there. Whereas Alcohol Funny Car, you got a lot of people that this is the highest level they want to go because it's where they want to be. You're shifting the car, you're swapping feet for the most part, and it's shark-infested waters. And when someone such as yourself goes out there, gets a lot of attention, does a great job with the media, dominates on the track, I can think of runs where you're out of the groove or near the center line, you keep the throttle open, you get it down through there. They respect that because you're bringing positive attention to the category, a worthy champion, and that's what I saw from your competitors.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Joe. That's it. Again, it's a pure passion and love for the sport and the class. One thing that I really enjoy about running some of our divisional and regional events is, it's a little more laid back mentality, and the fans do have the chance to get more interaction with the drivers and the teams, just simply because the schedule is not quite as hectic. And I always tell people who are not real savvy on what the alcohol classes are all about. I said, go get a spot along the fence right by the stage beams, right up on the starting line. I said, it's neat to hear the shift them. It's neat, everybody likes to see them blow up down track, but I'm telling you, all the action when a top alcohol funny car is on the starting line, because, you've got upwards of a 4,000 horsepower engine right at your toes. You're letting it sing at 7,000 RPM, and then you got one right beside you doing the same exact thing. It is rocking up there, and it is so much fun. The cars are rotating back and forth, and oftentimes I'll tell people to do that, and they'll come back after a run and go, man, I had no idea how violent these cars are. And I said, and then we're shifting, and you miss your shift RPM 200 high, you blow it up, and you miss the 200 low, you lose. And there's way more to it than I think just the general people that really understand, the nitro cars where it's direct drive, and the alcohol cars are so much fun. A lot of times I'll sit kids in the car and, take them through what it's like driving. And because I was that kid and I remember doing that. And, like we've talked about in the past, it's one of the reasons why I show so much interest in the junior dragster program, because a lot of kids think, well, this is the juniors and this is it. And probably their parents too. But I was that kid. I went down the right lane of Pomona Raceway the first time ever. My time was over 17 seconds in the 8th mile. And I'm getting ready to go to Pomona here in a couple of weeks as the top alcohol funny car world champion. I mean, it can happen to anybody if they put their heart to it.
Yeah, that is great to hear, and that is part of the whole thing. All right, let's talk a little bit about going out there and securing the championship. And correct me if I'm wrong, it seems like a blur, but it was Saturday that you secured the championship. So you had all night Saturday to celebrate and be the champ, but still you had to come back and win the event. I would not have been shocked if you came back and had a slight letdown on Sunday because it didn't really matter, because you guys were out late partying, you were focused. The war had been won. What's the point of this little battle? And no, you guys came out, your first light 0:15. Are you kidding me? And then Phil Burkhart, you guys were able to drop a 40 on poor Phil and Jay Blake, who are great people and great friends of the show, in the final round to just bring it home, drive it home with an exclamation point.
Yeah, and we got to talk about the burnout, because that's like the most prideful thing I've ever done in a race car.
Tell me about it. I heard it. I didn't see it. You know where I was.
Yeah, you're right. It's Saturday. You're right. Saturday afternoon is when we sewed the thing up, and we, you talk about sportsmanship. We were beside DJ Cox, and DJ, who has history with the Bartone team. I mean, there's no secret there. DJ and I have remained friends during the whole thing, and he was one of the first ones to come up and congratulate me. And that was, total sportsman move. And, it's a blessing and honor just to see DJ out here racing with what he's been through this year. So, that was special for a lot of reasons. And then, like you say, Andy came up to me. He was actually the pair behind me at that time. And I went and talked to him because we were going to race Sunday morning in the semifinals, me and Andy. And I told him, I first asked permission from the boss, Steve Boggs, of course, because I would never do anything behind his back. But I said, hey, Boggs, I said, can I go out and do me a celebration burnout? He goes, how far you want to go? And I said, how far can I go? And he said, as far as you want, burn the hides off this thing. So I went up to Andy. I said, hey, Andy, don't fire. I'm going to go do a big rip and burn out. He just got this big smile on his face. He goes, you know what? I'll go celebrate with you. I'll do a big one, too. And so, again, we're out there having fun. That burnout, it was so cool. That thing would have gone probably to the first turnout road, smoking the tires. I pissed a lot of people off if I'd done that, but it was funny because I got the burnout going, and I'm sitting here thinking, and I'm just cruising along, going, man, this is really cool. And Eric, who backs me up on our team, he's standing about 300 feet, and I said, well, I got to go past him underpowered to get a little rubber on his face. And he just pointed down track, and I think I ended up going about 400 feet under power, and just had a great time with it, and got a good response from the crowd out of it. I had some friends with cell phone videos going on the start line, so I got some good video out of it, and how fun it was, and ended up beating Andy. But going back to the 15 light and the performance of the car and things like that. That's why these guys are so good on Bartone's team and this Hussey team. They are competitors to the core. I'd like to think myself the same way. And one of the reasons why I try to perform well is because I know they're not going to screw up, and I sure as heck don't want to be the weak link. So now that 15 light, I actually have a little inside joke going with Bruno Massel. You can ask him about it. So Bruno owes me. He used to give me a hard time for cutting lights without having a trans brake, and so I told him we exchanged some pleasantries about that stuff, and I told him I would try to go better in 020, so I might have stuck her in a little deeper than normal, but the time slip does say 15, so he does owe me. But and then in the final against Phil, I mean, those Follow Dream guys and Terenzio Tunin and Jay Blake's car. I mean, that car, and Phil's a great driver. That's another one of those cars that we didn't mention earlier that goes out and wins all kinds of stuff and just kind of flies under the radar. Every year he's top 10 in points. So we knew that we didn't, couldn't take them lightly. And I actually screwed up driving in the final. I staged the thing up, and I was trying to be a hero and cut a really killer light, and I kind of flinched, and the tree hadn't come on yet, so I kind of settled my body down, and then the tree came on. I wasn't ready for it, and Phil welded me on the starting line. But typical Steve Boggs goes out and runs 540 like it's nothing. It just it's amazing to drive for those guys. But the goal now, like you and I talked about in Charlotte, the goal now is to win everything. Go try some things, which is kind of odd for Steve Boggs to say, because Steve's always trying stuff. I talked to him on the phone this morning. He goes, I want to try some things. I said, Steve, you always try things. He goes, no, I really want to try some things. So I don't know whether to be happy or scared or sad or mad or maybe all the above. So, but we're going to go to Vegas, and somebody had even said that if we happen to win either Vegas or Pomona, we can end up with a perfect point score. And, that's ultimately the goal. I mean, Tony Bartone assembled the team to win, and boy, it's been something so far. It's been quite a ride.
Okay, a couple of things I want to just drive home, because I know that whenever we have one of our alcohol funny car racers, and in particular a champion, there are a lot of people that are going to listen that maybe aren't normal WFO radio listeners. Let's hear Sean on WFO. And so, number one, after your long super burnout, you went 542 at 272. Andy was alongside doing a super burnout and ran 551.1 at 270, his low ET of the weekend. So that means super burnouts do not negatively affect your performance. Can we agree on that? Can we make this a more normal thing?
You know what? I would totally wish we could. I'd be on board 150%. In fact, what's even cooler about it, going back to how fun these things are to drive, is, of course, with bigger burnouts comes more fuel being burned and the front end's up longer. So as long as they're going straight, it's great. But the thing at the front end up a long way, and I was joking with Andy. I said, "Hey, is your thing about out of fuel?" And he goes, "Yeah, the front end was pretty light on mine too." So, I dig that about the alcohol cars. One of the things about the nitro cars is they're so regimented in what they have to do to make the performance work. And you hear Scott Palmer talk all the time about the throttle whack, and the alcohol cars aren't typically that way. We can get away with a little bit more fun, and you'll always hear me when I go to before I roll through the water box. Every single time I wrap the throttle. And everybody, I always get asked, well, why is that? Are you clearing it out? I said, no, I'm just letting the car know I'm ready, and it's ready too. Let's go have some fun. Literally, that's why I do that. And I can't do that in a nitro car. Probably kill somebody if you did. So it's a little more leeway in the alcohol cars. I wish it was a 300-foot burnout minimum in alcohol cars. Of course, it'd take 4 minutes to run a pair, but man, they're just so much fun.
Well, that's exactly the point, is the showmanship, the entertainment value. Maybe not every single run, but there are times just like this where a long burnout is perfect, and everybody loved it, and everybody did love it, and let's see a little more of it, and that's what I'm just saying. Okay, part two. Obviously, you have won the championship, but you said you're not done. You're going out to Vegas. You're going out to Pomona. You're going to try to increase your points total to put up that perfect claim. I think that is cool, because your title defense, or your celebration really, happens at the racetrack. To me, that is a great statement.
Yeah, and it's also looking ahead to next year. Just because we won a little earlier doesn't mean they're not going to come shooting hard for us next year. So if we can go out and find a little performance and win a couple of more races, maybe that'll put a little more pressure on everybody else over the wintertime. I mean, it's goal number one for next year is obviously win the championship again, go out, win races, have a good time like we did this year. It's a different ball game when the target's on your back than when you're shooting for the target. So the mindset is going to be the same. We're going to go have fun, and that's one thing that a lot of times gets lost in competition and travel, is the fun goes away. These guys on Tony Bartone's team, I've had so much fun with them. I talk to them almost daily, and we've become great friends, and that's something I can't wait to continue on. I'm actually bummed that the season's ending, because a lot of them are from the East Coast. I probably won't see them again until probably January. But it's going out and going to Vegas. I mean, Vegas is always fun. It's a premier facility. Usually the weather's great. It's right around Halloween time. Everybody dresses up Halloween, and in fact, my wife and kids are coming up, so I'm going to dress the kids up, and it's always a good time. And then Pomona for me, I mean, that's where it all started. My dad used to race at Pomona. Heck, at one time I worked at Pomona Raceway. I made my first run in a junior dragster in the right lane of Pomona. That for me is one of the most special places. In fact, I actually one day, every Pomona event I go to, at least one day, I go park in the spectator parking lot, and I walk in the front gate just like I was when I was a little kid. My mom and dad used to take me to Pomona, and I just smile every time I do it, because I'm a big old drag racing fan. And that is some of the more special memories for me. Started right there, and I think it'll, like we talked about a little earlier, I think walking out that gate Sunday night, it'll kind of close the book for me, and that's when it'll hit.
Wow! So title defense next year, already on the books. That's great. We need that. 2018 has been fantastic. It's going to be a celebration at Pomona. But even when you're not running the top alcohol funny car, you somehow find a way to be a part of a championship. This past weekend at the California Hot Rod Reunion, you're out there working on a car, and you were able to be successful. Tell me a little bit about that. The Hot Rod Reunion is something that everybody loves. They love that in the March meet. It's a nostalgia side of the sport, the Heritage Series. But my goodness, people who go, they love it. Tell me.
Yeah, it's once my junior racing days were done, my family and I were looking to, what direction do we go next? And my dad had some parts from an alcohol car back in, this was probably 1998 or 9, and we went to the March meet. And boy, you want to talk about cool cars from the time you walk in the gate till the time you leave. From vintage 60s cars, true cars that you typically see in a museum out there running, to late model Top Fuel and nostalgia funny cars. And my boss, Tom Sheelar, here at Mastercam, has a nostalgia Top Fuel car. In fact, I drove it from 2004 to 2007. And I've just kind of stayed involved with it. And my schedule kind of, got crazier, and I made the switch to alcohol funny cars. So I do the clutch on that thing when I can, and had the opportunity to go out there, and their driver, Mindy Fry. Mindy is a bad chick, and she drives the wheels off that thing. And they were wildly successful with it this year. And boy, my boss, Tom, who tunes it, that thing is, he makes it fast, and was able to run low ET top speed and qualify number 1 and come away with the win. It was pretty cool. I was actually counting the cuts on my fingers this morning from just being a clutch dummy on a nitro car. But like you said, Joe, I'm just a big old fan of this stuff. I love being around it. As I said earlier, the people are some of the best folks you'll ever meet in your life. And it's this is actually coming up on Vegas this weekend. Is going to be week 4 in a row of 6 weeks for me, and I'm really excited because my family's going to be there. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Wow, great stuff. All right, I want to ask you one more thing. The folks at HusseyPerformance.net came on WFO as a sponsor earlier this year. They've been on the side of your car for this championship run, going out and winning all these events, winning the championship, the David Allens. Great people. I want you to speak about them a little bit. I'm always trying to talk to my audience who are shop owners, engine builders that are involved in the sport, pushing their copper head gaskets because, frankly, they are made in America. Everything's made in America. The machines are made in America. They're passionate drag racers, and they support you in a big way. Talk a little bit about those two and how they've supported the team.
Well, and I mean, words can't describe my gratitude toward them because the deal they put together with Tony Bartone and that whole alcohol team, and even their nostalgia Top Fuel car when they had it, is what pushed this whole thing forward. And you're absolutely right. I mean, we see the racing side of it and these high performance engines. There are a lot of people out there that will go on Summit or go on Jegs and build a crate motor or things like that and plop it in their Chevy or their Ford and drive it down the street and be proud of it. And that is, to me, is what's so cool about anything automotive. And the Allens get that. Dave and his son David, they get that. It's a real old school feel when you talk to them about high performance engines or street cars or race cars or boats or tractor pull or anything. They truly do have a passion for it, and it's something that really I think most of us out there we share. We all have in common. And so they talk the talk, but I'll tell you what, they walk the walk too. And David loves talking. In fact, Dave Allen himself used to have a really unique complimentaire car. It was a ex-pro stock car with a small block with a blower on it. You got to talk to him about that thing. I mean, I just sit there and shake my head, and I say, "You actually crawled in that stupid thing?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, but it was basically an R&D car for them, and they gained a lot of knowledge from that thing. And it just they're hot rodders, they're racers, they're high performance fans, and engine builders, and like so many of us are, and that's the common thing we share."
There you go. No, great stuff. Big supporters of WFO here in 2018. Obviously, big supporters of you. And you won the championship. We don't have a championship to win, but we're happy that they're on board with us regardless. Sean, congratulations. Looking forward to seeing you out there in Vegas. So much going on this weekend. And then, of course, the SEMA show, which I don't know if you're involved or obligated for that. Then, obviously, the Vegas Regional, then Pomona. You are very busy. You're going to be all consumed, running around as champ, shaking hands, kissing babies, taking pictures. I know you're going to get very busy. I appreciate you making the time for us here on WFO Radio for our first 2018 Lucas Oil Championship interview. That is something big. There's more to come for our audience. You are the first.
That's awesome, Joe. Thanks a ton, and as always, all year long, you guys have made this really, really special for me. And I keep saying the same thing, but it's true. I'm just a kid from California, loves to drive funny cars, and that part's never going to change.
Sean, congratulations. I'll see you in Vegas. Thank you so much.
Sounds good, Joe. Take care.
Thanks, Sean. Sean Bellemeur with us here on WFO Radio. All right, listeners, the enthusiasm coming out of that young man. The enthusiasm. Don't you want to hear it on a regular basis in the Mellow Yellow series? And this is where we need to get. We need to get to a place where there's 22 Top Fuel dragsters and there's 22 Nitro funny cars. And that the owners of said Nitro funny cars and Top Fuel dragsters are coveting this man's personality and ability and fighting over him. That's where the sport needs to go, because there is no way. I mean, Alcohol Funny Car is unbelievable. They just won the championship, but it's not about that. It's about, would the sport of NHRA drag racing be better off with a guy like Sean Bellemeur in the big show, speaking and talking and engaging with Antron Brown and Brittany Force and whomever he chooses to race and run. Ron Capps on the funny car side of things. The answer is yes, absolutely. He's a star. He's got star power, and I think it's very obvious. And so congratulations to Sean Bellemeur on winning the championship. And big thanks to HusseyPerformance.net for supporting WFO Radio and, of course, that team. I'm talking about David Allen, the David Allens. And you can give David a call, 724-318-8292. Copper head gaskets, the most accurate in the business. We're talking about 0.005 of an inch, the tightest of tolerances, because they know where and how to buy copper. They've been doing it a long, long time, talking about 40 years. And if you've got something custom, like a totally custom application, they can make it for you. And it doesn't even take a long time, typically less than a week. David personally inspects every single gasket. He's got his micrometer. He's ready to check it out. Everything is made in America. Give him a call, 724-318-8292. Congratulate them on the championship, most of all. And it's time to switch your engine shop over to Hussey Performance copper head gaskets. From 500 cubic inch nitro burning Hemis to turbocharged Pro Mods to tractor engines, they do it all. They specialize in quality copper gaskets to your exact specs. 724-318-8292, HusseyPerformance.net. And congratulations to Hussey, the Bartone brothers, and Sean Bellemeur on winning the 2018 Lucas Oil Top Alcohol Funny Car World Championship. When we come back, we're going to hear from Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus.
Everybody, listen carefully.
Now you listen to me. Why do you listen? WFO, you guys are number one. Honest. Listen.
Hey, racers and race fans, I want to tell you about the motorsports guys. Terry McMillan from Elkhart, Indiana, has got a new venture, and we want you to hit the website. They've got all kinds of great new parts, pieces, filters, oils on there, including Amelie's new Pro Racing 70 oil with Molly. It's used by many professional drag racers, including Terry McMillan, for larger turning curves and avoiding those drop cylinder moments. It saves bearings and crankshafts and provides more compression with better ring seal and less fuel in your oil. You can get it at motorsportsguys.com. We'll carry Amelie, they carry Wolf's Head Oil and Lubricants, Molly Filters, K&N Filters, All-Star Performance Racing, and high-performance parts from Motor State Distributing and Lane Automotive. It's going to be a one-stop shop. They're going to have it all. But most importantly, oil, Amelie, better than it has to be since 1903, available at motorsportsguys.com. Check it out. Bookmark it, motorsportsguys.com. Terry McMillan stepping up as a supporter of WFO Radio. Check him out, motorsportsguys.com.
Start your education at full speed with the School of Automotive Machinists and Technology. Accelerate your career as a high-performance engine builder with classroom instruction and practical hands-on experience in the lab, on the dyno, and at the track. In addition to the blockhead and CNC programs, SAM now offers motorsport EFI tuning and an Associates of Applied Science degree. And SAM is a military-friendly school, approved to train veterans and other eligible persons under the GI Bill. Start your education at full speed. Go to samtech.edu today.
Hey, this is Joe Castello, and we'll be back to the show in a second. But first, I want to tell you about CompetitionPlus.com. There's a reason CompetitionPlus.com is the leader among drag racing electronic magazines. Their trained staff is always on alert and always asking the tough questions. The end result is hard-hitting drag racing journalism with up-to-the-minute reporting. For over a decade, CompetitionPlus.com has been a pioneer as drag racing's go-to source for the latest in news, race coverage, and high-quality photography. Their trained staff thrives on getting the inside stories, and their columnists study their topics before they hit their first keystroke. When it comes to covering the races, they leave you feeling as if you've actually been to the race. CompetitionPlus.com is an honest-to-goodness, free drag racing magazine published by the most passionate of drag racing fans, who just happen to be journalists. Don't wonder what's going on in the drag racing world. Be in the know daily. Log on to CompetitionPlus.com.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
Vegas, baby, Vegas. We are rolling. We're headed to Vegas. It's going to be great. Vegas. Bobby Bennett will be joining us momentarily, but right now I want to tell you about CatSpotLitter.com. Scott Palmer stepping up to support WFO Radio. Tommy Thompson stepping up to support Scott Palmer. And Dom Lagana and Jeff Deal and Ricky House and WFO in the world of drag racing. All because they have created and innovated a new product in the cat litter sphere. Right? It's made out of coconut. It's biodegradable. It's renewable. It is natural. All of these reasons. And they're using the e-commerce as the way to get the job done. Now, I've said it earlier in the show, and I've said it every now and again. This is not the Christmas gift you want to get for your wife or your loved spouse. Right? It's like, oh, man, I love you, sweetie. Here's a bag of cat litter. But if you position it like you'll never have to handle this again, I'm going to order it up and have it come to the house, part of the CatSpotLitter.com subscription, that might get you somewhere. I can see that being appreciated. And, of course, everything with the cats, the fact that it is coconut, it is biodegradable, you can get rid of it in the compost bin or in the yard because it is all natural. And finally, if you don't have a cat and you don't have a wife, but you do have a shop and you do have a race car, Magic Dry is probably for you because it's more the shop version of the product, and they do a great job with it. Magic Dry at the tracks, and Magic Dry might be for you. Go to CatSpotLitter.com. Check them out. When you see Scott at the race, tell him you heard about it on WFO Radio, and I highly encourage you to get a cat. There's a lot of kitties out there that need a home. Why not with you? CatSpotLitter.com. Now, time to move into it with a man who brings the heat. Joining us now, he is the editor of CompetitionPlus.com. He brings the heat on WFO every now and again. It has been too long since we have heard from him, but he joins us now as we get ready for the final two races before the 2018 championships are decided. Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus. Bobby, welcome back. How are you?
Hey, glad to be back. Thought you'd forgotten about me, Joe.
No. Didn't forget about you at all. It's just, you know how it is. I like to keep a nice rotation going, and your time, this is now the time for Bobby Bennett because there's a couple of really interesting storylines out there. I want your takes on them, but also I want to delve into this whole news story that happened in the last 5 minutes of our show a week ago, as you know, tends to happen as a breaking news guy. That NHRA has said that the Mountain Motor Pro Stock experiment has failed, and they will not be able to equalize those two platforms. Let's start there. What do you know? What do you think?
As far as the Mountain Motor Pro Stock,
yes,
I believe you will see the program in the future there, and not to replace Pro Stock, but pretty much. And this is a hunch that I have, that you could possibly see a mix between Mountain Motor Pro Stock and conventional 500-inch Pro Stock, pretty much like the Pro Stock motorcycle and Nitro Harleys.
I see. And, okay, that is interesting. The initial plan was to try to equalize the two cars and do a Pro Mod style situation or a Samtech style situation where exact combinations are made equal through factoring and weight and all that, like back in the day. And they worked on it. It just was too much of a challenge, apparently.
Well, like I said in the opening line of my story, it all looked good on paper, but that paper was definitely not a bank statement. And there was just too much money that had to be spent to equalize these out, and NHRA just felt like they just didn't want to put the racers through any more added expense. I mean, if we had been in the carburetors and hood scoop 500-inch era, might have been able to pull it off, but because we had such sweeping changes and I'm just going to say it, brought in that god-awful EFI, we might have been able to pull it off.
Wow. So you are now publicly saying, negative EFI things. Weren't you an advocate of EFI early on? Or most people? I know I was. A lot of people were.
I had mixed emotions of it. I knew that Pro Stock needed a change, and at the time I was reserved in my feelings towards it. But just like Alan Johnson said, we spent a lot of money that we didn't need to, and in the end, it didn't do anything.
Yeah, well, that is definitely a worthwhile discussion. I recently said to some of my VIP listeners, and I want your opinion on this. Like, why can't we invite the carburetor guys back and just say, okay, if you're a 500 cubic inch guy, you can choose to use the fuel injection or the carburetors, and then give the fuel injection guys a couple more injectors or whatever it takes to make them quicker. We know the carburetors, like Warren Johnson always said, carburetors were quicker for many reasons. The hood scoop, the temperature, the air going into the engine, many reasons. But they wanted fuel injection so they could be relevant, and they are. There's fuel injection on most of these high performance cars, Pro Mod especially. They are relevant. They wanted laptop tuning. They got that. How about we have both? If we're going to have two combinations, why can't we just have carbureted Pro Stock and fuel injected Pro Stock and try to make those two equal instead of an 800 cubic inch engine?
Joe, if with all due respect, if we were going to do that, why didn't we just go through with the mountain motors, and that would have been your carbureted combination?
Because they're too fast.
I mean, if we were going to do that, you're asking guys to spend money again, and that's the whole reason why they did not want to integrate the two.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a 500-inch carbureted combination and a 500-inch EFI, then why didn't you just go ahead and do the mountain motor thing?
Well, because they're too fast. That's the thing. They're like just so much quicker. You can't do it. At least we know the carbureted 500 cubic inch cars are, what are we going to call it? A tenth quicker than the fuel injected ones? Is it really even a tenth anymore? It's like 0.08 of a second generally. I just feel like.
But again, you would have had to spend money on the EFI to speed the thing up. It wasn't as easy as, we'll just change this and that, and they should be even. Well, this changes one part of the combination, which changes two parts of the combination, and it's never as easy as, you just change a pulley or something like that, with the fuel cars. It changes the whole dynamic of everything.
No, I know that. I understand the challenge. But I just think that they can figure out a way to find 0.08 of a second with the current cars, the current EFI. Give them a couple more injectors. Don't they have 8 injectors? Give them 10 injectors. Pull the rev limiter off, a little bit. Give them a couple hundred more RPM. Boom, you're there. I know it's easy to say.
But what's a couple of $10,000-$20,000 in a class where you spend $60,000 to race for $10,000.
Oh, well, I know, but that's the whole sport. And at the same time, you'd think that there are carburetors. I don't want to say just lying around, but there are intake manifolds and carburetors just lying around, and the guys that want to switch back to those, they could be welcome, and there's your cars. Assuming that can even be done.
There's always parts laying around, but unfortunately, there's not always money laying around.
Well, so what do you think this means for the future of Pro Stock? You said you think we're going to see Pro Stock Motorcycle and Mickey Thompson Top Fuel Harley-Davidson style situation. So 2 categories in limited schedule?
I believe so. I believe you will see the mountain motor cars. And in the article that I wrote for Competition Plus, Ned Wasser, NHRA's Vice President of Competition, actually said that they're looking at bringing in those mountain motor cars on an exhibition basis.
Interesting.
And, that's how they all start. They come in as exhibition. I hate to say this. They come in as exhibitionists and get welcomed into the family.
Right. Well, I am all for, I am in support of more categories at different races that showcase different styles of drag racing. I'm all for that. And so, but as a fan of Pro Stock, I just feel that this is a perfect example of, like, we have gone to a dead end, and now what's going to happen? And that's what I'm wondering. I'm like waiting for a statement of some sort of fact here at the end of this run.
Well, the statement of fact is we have more leaving than we have coming in. That's a statement of fact as it gets.
Yeah, losing Tanner, losing Drew. And so have you been able to envision NHRA national events without Pro Stock at all of them, and how that will factor in, and how many people will keep their engine development programs going even though they're not running at all these races?
I believe that Pro Stock will have a different landscape of next year. Now, what you may see is not, with the heavy hitters leaving, you might have some other teams that run on a part-time basis that says, hey, I got a chance to go out there and race and compete. May not win, but at least I can compete and maybe qualify and get to race on Sunday.
Interesting. It has been a long discussed, challenging subject. What is up with Pro Stock and what will happen? I know you on Competition Plus have been covering it for a long time. We on WFO have been covering it for a long time, talking to racers, talking to people. Here we are at the end of the 2018 season, 2 races to go. The championship is pretty much locked up by Tanner Gray, barring some really unforeseen collapse, which I don't see that happening. But, wondering, is this the last year of NHRA Pro Stock as we have known it? And perhaps that is the case.
It will be a different Pro Stock, but it won't be the end of Pro Stock. Pro Stock will be back 24 races in 2019.
Interesting. Well, it is. Hopefully that is good. Let's turn our attention to some of the other storylines out there, and I just want your opinion on what Steve Torrence has been able to do, winning the first 4 races of the countdown. My personal opinion is I would love to see history made and a team sweep a countdown. That is something that has yet to happen. It is certainly possible. These guys have the opportunity to do it. They seem driven and determined. They haven't taken their foot off the pedal yet. What do you think about what the Capco boys have been able to accomplish?
Well, I think it's absolutely great, and I've written a lot of articles on Steve. And if another driver who had won a championship, and no offense to Tony Schumacher or Antron Brown, those guys, if they had won the championship and went through the whole countdown and won the whole thing, it might not be as exciting. And that's no offense to those guys. But you got somebody like Steve Torrence, who has never won a championship. And, that's about as blue-collar of a top fuel team as you're going to get out there. For them to run the table on this class would be so incredible.
Oh, my goodness, it would. And single-car teams, apparently what it takes to win these days.
Well, I don't know that you call that a single-car team. I mean, you can, but there's a lot of satellites, a lot of strings out there floating around,
Yeah.
Dom Lagana, Scott Palmer, and Billy Torrance. That's not a one-car team. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I do. Their sole focus is Steve, as opposed to, say, what's going on at DSR with the, Tony Schumacher, Leah Pritchett, Antron Brown, three-headed monster.
Right, definitely.
Yeah, but it has been cool to watch, and the way they do it, Steve not really taking the opportunity to do too much talking during the event, but after the event he opens up and certainly got, an attitude and a confidence and a swagger that we haven't seen for a long time. Steve told me flat out, he goes, I'm not sponsorable, so I'm not thinking about that stuff. I'm running a business. I got to work, and that's all I'm thinking about is working and racing, and that's it. And I say what I want to say. Very different from a driver who is representing a sponsor.
I think the greatest moment of Steve Torres's season has not been in winning any single race or winning from number one. I think it was a moment that he walked over to Terry McMillan's recovery vehicle and saw Terry's son Cameron crying in the vehicle and consoled him. That was the greatest moment of this championship run.
Yeah, no, great stuff. And what shocked me is that some people were surprised by it. If you know Steve at all, that's he's a good guy. He just he gets into the moment, but that's him more so than anything else.
Well, when you have a championship run, you have to have a swagger to you. Now that swagger may not be what your heart is away from the racetrack. You might be the most kind, caring, and giving person. It's like, I was playing against this one team, and we were pretty dominant when I played baseball. And the guy was over there, and I said, y'all got a pretty good team. Y'all going to win some games. And he says, oh, thank you. I said, today ain't going to be one of them. And walked away. And then immediately he told one of my teammates, said, that number 43 on your team is a jerk. And then they said, no, that's just the way he is when he gets on the ball field. Away from the ball field, he's not that way. I don't know. Some people may think that, but you just don't think about it. You just do it. And when Steve says stuff, when he's in the heat of battle racing, well, that's just it. That's just racing.
That's it. He's bringing the heat, folks. Bobby Bennett from Competition Plus. Bobby, what about Funny Car? Robert Height, J.R. Todd within 11 points. That's, less than a round. Ron Capps, Tim Wilkerson, who was just on the show. I can tell you, Tim Wilkerson, he knows it's a longer shot, but he doesn't feel out of this deal. They're running very well. I know Capps, Ron Tobler, they told us last week, they got plans to go out and win out. And so if both of those racers can live up to what they say they feel capable of doing, of course, Robert and JR, they're very tough too. We're in for an excellent final two races.
The championship will come down to the final four, if not the final two. They'll come down to the final four, if not final two, in Pomona.
Wow.
There may be 4 cars still in the championship running when you come down to the final 4, or maybe 3. But it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be that close.
Robert and JR, though, they need to lose early this week if that's going to happen.
You never know. Vegas does some weird things.
Well, it does. It does in that, we talk about how competitive Funny Car is. Last week, Jack Beckman had an opportunity at Robert first round. That was it. Laid down a great pass, just not quite good enough. In an epic battle. Those are the kind of things that kind of get lost, but you realize they had Robert where they wanted him. They had DSR car against him first round. Beckman, the troika of crew chiefs, and they couldn't quite get there first.
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire.
Now, which of these champions do you think is, got that extra momentum on their side? That extra thing, that helps decide champions.
Well, Jimmy Prock, and he's going to be, if we put it in baseball terms, he's going to be looking for the upper deck. And then you have Ron Tobler and the Yellow Fellas, which is a DHL team driven by, Ron Cat. J.R. Todd, I'm sorry. Just a little bit under the weather here, not thinking. J.R. Todd and Ron Capps, those are the equivalent of your base hitters. And sometimes they ring off doubles and triples and home runs.
Yeah, going to be very interesting to see. Qualifying points, I think, are going to come into play, although when you're going up against Robert Hight for qualifying points, it's going to be very tough. Can they close the gap, or will the gap be extended, and how close can they get here at Vegas? To do that, you got to win. It's one of those things. Just win, baby. If Ron Capps and Tim Wilkerson can win out, they will have a chance. Will it be guaranteed? No way to know. It all depends on how Robert and JR do. But those guys, I think they need to win out. Moving over to Pro Stock, we talked about Pro Stock here at the beginning. Pro Stock has been way less close, competitive, entertaining than I expected it would have been at the start of the countdown. Tanner Gray has pretty much just dominated the deal, with his competitors falling victim to the closed Pro Stock field, getting bounced, second round, semis, first round, and everybody else is very close. If you took Tanner out of the mix, Jeg would have a 6-point lead over Vincent, and everybody is pretty tightly wound right in there. It would be a great battle. Instead, Tanner Gray gets the job done, and I don't know about you, but the one for me that really just kind of made me think, wow, it's over, was the win against Alex Laughlin, where he practically crashed the car 4 or 5 times down the racetrack to win on a hole shot.
Yeah. It's I think it's pretty much Tanner's championship to lose.
Do you see that happening anyway?
Realistically, I don't see him losing this, but you've been around this sport, back when you were probably in elementary school or junior high. There was a championship that went down between Lee Shepard and Bob Glidden. Who would have given that a chance, in 1980?
Right.
Glidden came through and did everything that he had to do to win it.
Right. And the guy in second is Jeg Coughlin, and anything is possible. He can certainly go out and win 2 races, catch a break, have Tanner go out early, and that is absolutely true. I said it on our Ignition show, though, and I mean it when I say it. I don't like to see horrible collapses like that. To me, that's sad and disappointing. But at the same time, that means somebody's going on a great run. So you got to finish the job. If you're Tanner Gray, you got to finish the job.
Yep, definitely.
Now, what do you think about him going to his round track career?
Well, when you have the budget that they have to race with, you can pretty much do anything, including taking a trip to the moon, and back. I think they have those now. But, he's just a racer. The kid is a racer. And whatever he jumps in, he enjoys and gives it his best. And he was racing, roundy round before he came over to Pro Stock. Maybe he just wants to try it on a bigger level, and you can't fault the guy. If you had the opportunity to race every kind of motorsports venue that you could, wouldn't you try it?
Absolutely. And, there's a high ceiling over there. There's a long way to grow. If he does have the talent and ability, he told us flat out that he thinks he's got what it takes. So he certainly he wants to try to make it to the Monster Energy Cup Series, the highest level of NASCAR. If he does have that ability, by all means he should. Those guys are getting $1 million, multi-million-dollar paychecks, even right now. And they're superstars, rock stars that are known beyond racing. So why wouldn't Tanner Gray go do that?
Joe, I had the pleasure of getting to speak with Clint Boyer at the ZMAX Dragway. And you would be amazed at how many of those guys racing, the Monster Energy Cup Series really enjoy drag racing and grew up around drag racing. Clint Boyer, he didn't hold back in telling about the love he had for the race cars at, Heartland Park when he was growing up, watching Gary Stennett and basically here he is getting to hang out with Don the Snake Prudhomme and John Force, and he's just like, wow. He's still, when you could see a kid in the candy shop in his eyes when he was at ZMAX Dragway. And I tell you what, if one of the NASCAR guys could have driven Pro Stock, it would have been Clint Boyer. He would have been bad to the bone.
Yeah, well, it's not too late, Clint. Come over here and participate. Start a team. Let's get going. Part ownership. We've seen it in the past, right? You know, Hendrick was in there for a little while. Let's get something going. No, I agree. Clint Boyer, it was very cool. And you remember he won earlier this year wearing a Don the Snake helmet. So he paid tribute and won with it.
Hey, if you can't honor Don the Snake Prudhomme, a man who also dabbled in other forms of motorsports, who can you pay tribute to?
And is still with his big Baja 1000 thing he did earlier this year. Pro Stock Motorcycle. What's Bobby's take on this? It feels, Matt Smith with the lead, the 41-point lead over LE, and Eddie Krawiec, LE, with the stumble last race. Jerry Savoy, 100 points back. Not technically out of it just yet, but a lot of work to do. My eyes still on Eddie Krawiec. Have been kind of stumbling and occasionally shooting himself in the foot. Not really able to go on and dominate the way he did last year, but lurking just the same. Matt Smith's got 2 races to go, 41 points, not enough to say it's over yet.
I can tell you who it won't. It will probably not be whoever wins Vegas. It probably won't be them.
and
to win the championship based on what has happened, for this season.
What, the person who wins the next race, they take a dive?
Yeah, they win the race, then they fall out, the next event. So whoever wins Vegas, you go ahead and scratch them off the list if the trend follows suit.
Right, exactly. And for those that don't know, I think each race of the countdown here so far, the person who won the race, the next race they lost first round.
Yeah.
It happened to LE this past race. Happened to Matt after Maple Grove. It's just it's a thing. Pro Stock Motorcycle, the category that was the least entertaining a year ago, perhaps the closest category here in 2018.
Okay, well, just get to Vegas. Whoever wins it, just go ahead and mark them off the
Scratch them off
list.
I don't know if it's
mark them off.
If it's Matt Smith who does it, I think he's going to have a pretty sizable lead. 1.5 points going into the final race. That is something that everyone needs to consider. Everything is bigger, including the qualifying points. That makes the final race at Pomona, the Auto Club Finals, where chances are most of it will end, with exception of Steve Torrance, barring something ridiculous.
Yeah, definitely. You're spot on there, Joe.
What else is on your mind as we get ready for the 2018 winter break in the sport? What do you got going on CompetitionPlus.com that we need to keep up with?
Well, we've got some big announcements coming, towards PRI time of some new ways that you'll be able to keep up with the latest news in drag racing. At Competition Plus, we're getting close to wrapping up season 4 of Legends, the series. We still have in order to come Al Segrini, the one that we're working on now, and we have Gary Beck, and closing out the year, the Wild Man, Gary Selsey.
Oh, wow.
And starting off season 5, I can tell you some of the first 4 episodes will be what I feel like is incredible. I already see what we have in the can for interviews. The First Lady of Drag Racing, Shirley Muldowney. We've already got the interview in the can, and the legend of Blaine Johnson, as told by Alan Johnson.
Wow.
We have Dave Wallace, one of the pioneering journalists for people such as me. He was a mentor to me at Competition Plus, and always entertaining with Bazemore.
Oh, very cool, very cool. How'd the Shirley thing go? That's got me excited.
It was, you sit there and it's just like, wow, some of the stuff you didn't realize, and I'm telling you, every female racer out there ought to be eternally grateful for what the road she paved for them. Because I'm going to tell you, the road that she had to travel to go down that, to get to there, was anything but paved. Lots of potholes. And let's just say Shirley was a perfect lady to bear this.
Yeah,
I mean, she was the toughest one that had to endure this for the other ladies to not have to put up with what she had to put up with.
No, totally agree. And, recently the Formula One and Open Wheel has come up with like an all-ladies W series, what we would call a powder puff race back in the day, which is probably not the right way to say it. But, women against women so that they don't have to race up against the men, but they can race against each other. And a lot of people have suggested that that's really the antithesis of what we have done here. And, even Ashley Sanford and some others kind of coming out against it. Like, really? What? Why would we do that? Trying to make it like ladies golf and ladies tennis as opposed to what it has been, which is, Shirley Muldowney coming in and saying, not only can I do this, but I can become a champion and becoming a 3-time champion in the NHRA. Kind of old hat, but clearly it, hasn't made its way to some of the other series out there in the world.
Well, I've said this many, many times. And I've said this about racing association. If you have to promote that you have a diversity program, you really don't have diversity. It's just simple as that. Drag racing doesn't have to promote diversity because it's right there, front, dead, and center. Now, for somebody who now coaches young ladies in fast-pitch softball to prepare them for the high school, I coached Little League, and some of the younger years, the girls and boys can play together in baseball. But when it gets to I don't know what to say, the puberty ages, they definitely go different ways. But with racing, none of that is applicable. That's not applicable. You put on the helmet and drive. Hey, if a lady gets out of the car, she's beat you. Well, then she's beat you. It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is, right? The car, makes up for any differences that there might be in physicality. There's still physicality. It's still got to be strong. You still got to be smart. You still got to endure. But that's why, fat, older guys can do it, too.
Yeah, and definitely. And the only difference might be the fight at the end of the race. I mean, that might be the only thing. But I know some women that will probably whip up on some of the guys, so it might not be totally fair to the guys,
I don't like to advocate violence, Bobby. I'm against it.
Hey, it's racing. Racing's violent.
We haven't had that in a long time, and we haven't had one of those go down. I can't think of one.
I went to a race where you could either win the race or the fight after the race. That's one of the two things.
Yeah.
And either one was entertaining.
I like my teeth
Cherokee Speedway.
Oh, well, there you go. Now, listen, I heard about it. That was one of the reasons we, here in the Castello household, we chose Miami Hollywood Speedway over Hialeah Speedway to spend our racing because, the fighting afterwards, we were kind of not into it.
Yeah, well, it could be entertaining. You can watch one TV show or you can watch Jerry Springer is the way it is.
Right. No, and so many people made that choice. Bobby, excellent work. Thank you so much for bringing the heat. Appreciate you coming on WFO. Always love the work you guys are doing out there on Competition Plus. Excellent work with the legends of the series, and I'm glad you were able to come on and bring a little heat and open things up. And I am looking forward to seeing the Legends of the Series and seeing you out there, in Vegas? We can see you in Vegas and Pomona. Where are we going to see you?
I'm hoping to make it to Vegas. I'm running on, I'm an 8-cylinder running on about 5 cylinders right now, so I'm going to try to make it to Vegas.
All right. Vegas, baby, Vegas. Bobby, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you, Joe.
Bobby Bennett with us here on WFO Radio. Thanks to Bobby for coming on the show. And, the whole Pro Stock thing, I'll talk about it a little bit more in my time. Next segment, tail end of the show. Some thoughts about some things. I want to see a Pro Stock. There are people that are against it. I don't know why they want to see an NHRA without a Pro Stock. I don't know why you would want that. Why not pick another category? But there is a mini army of people that are fighting against it. I'm fighting for it. We'll see where it goes. The mountain motor cars, okay. I'm underwhelmed a little bit. But that's the thing. There's all different styles of cars. Got to keep everybody happy. Big thanks to Bobby for coming on the show. And, of course, the Legends, the series. You got to get on those. I can't wait to see the Shirley Muldowney one. Can't wait. Going to be very interested to see that one. Thanks to Bobby Bennett for coming on the show and posting our shows and all that stuff. Right now, though, I want to tell you about Kim Cussy and the team over at aerospacecomponents.com. Aerospace is a family-owned and operated business, been going for over 30 years. They're known throughout the industry for their great parts coming out of the state-of-the-art CNC machining and inspection areas in their Tampa Bay facility. Whether it be billet brakes of all colors or the titanium wave brake rotor or wheel bearings that spin forever, here's what you need to do. You need to go on Instagram and follow Aerospace Components because they're always putting out really cool photos of all kinds of cars and their parts and pieces. Kim Cussy has got a informative show on there called Kimmy's Garage about all their products and why they're better. Or you could just give them a call and just order something. 727-347-9915. aerospacecomponents.com. Pedal sets for Mustangs, vacuum pumps for some of the higher horsepower cars out there. If it's made out of billet, chances are they make it, and they do a great job with it. aerospacecomponents.com, 727-347-9915, and tell them you heard it on WFO Radio. When we come back, it will be my time. Final segment of the show.
This is WFO Radio.
Hey, everybody. How do you start your day? You started off with a little coffee. And do you want something cheap and vacuum-packed with garbage? You want to pay for a retail coffee? It's like $11. Or do you want something that is good, like RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com? Join the Rodax Army. WFO users and listeners know all about it. Over 40 grades to choose from. This is roasted fresh per your order, not to mention hot sauce, spice rub. You got to call Marvin, get on the phone line, or go to the website, RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com. Check it out. That's RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com.
Hey, WFO Universe. Want something for free? Send a self-addressed stamped envelope with plenty of postage, and we'll load it up with free WFO stickers. That's right, I said free. Send your envelope, care of Castello Media /WFO stickers to P.O. Box 848353, Pembroke Pines, Florida 33084. Do it now.
Drag Racing Edge. That's the magazine. Subscribe online. Get the issues, $24.95. Keep up with your favorite sport, whether it be NHRA Mellow Yellow, Lucas Oil Series action. They cover drag radial. They cover it all. Drag Racing Edge magazine. You've been listening to WFO Radio for a long time now, and you hear these racers all talking about how much they spend, how much they travel, how hard they work, all to accelerate really, really quickly. Well, Frank Hawley and Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School has figured a way for you to do it at a fraction of the price, the work, the effort, the time. It is a fun experience. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com and investigate. No ride along. You drive it. You are the driver. It's called the Dragster Adventure. Go to frankhawley.com to find out more and tell them you heard it on WFO.
This is Sean from Traverse City, Michigan. You ever get done with an episode of Ignition or Nitro and say, man, that's a good job. I'd like to give them a pat on the back and a cold beer. Well, with Patreon, you can. So send that drink down to Gio and Joe.
Now, back to WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro.
Final segment, NHRA Nitro podcast. Remember, we're going right through the off season. We would love for you to subscribe and tell all your friends and inform them that the show continues through the off season. And instead of winners, we chase great stories. There's a lot of great stories. I will tell you about a couple of them coming up here in just a few minutes. But Hangstifer's metalworking lubricant's been around since 1937. And here's the deal. If you've got a shop, if you are, metalworking, you're cutting, their job is to make you more efficient in the shop. Their products are engineered to increase productivity and reduce downtime without compromise to health, safety, and environmental requirements. It is a big, big deal what the folks at Hangstifer's do, and you just got to look at who they've partnered with over the years, whether it be DSR or JFR or otherwise, to know that they have got good stuff. If you have a shop, if you work in a factory, you should go and investigate whether Hangstifer's can make you more productive and reduce downtime. go to Hankstafers.com. If you're going to be at the PRI trade show, I encourage you to go out to the Hankstafers booth. We will be driving home the point with the booth number and the times and the day. But plan right now to swing by Hankstafers at the PRI trade show. They're going to have their half-scale dragster simulators with the Portatree, Antron Brown, Tommy Johnson. The Sackman brothers are all going to be there. I'm going to be passing through. We're going to have a good time. We're going to do a big meetup at the Hankstafers booth at the PRI trade show. And that way you can meet Bill and Mike and everybody behind the scenes that make it happen at Hankstafers. I think this is a great company in that they are supporting, they're putting money where their mouth is, in that this is an industrial company, and they are looking to help out shops and some of the smaller manufacturers out there as well. I know that we have in the WFO radio audience. So if you've got CNC machines, if you've got machines that use metalworking lubricants, Hankstafers is your call, and be sure to reach out to them. Tell them you heard about it on WFO Radio, or just come there with me to the booth at PRI, and I'll introduce you myself. In fact, you could just email me, and I'll bring you over there. Like, hey, this is Reggie. Reggie's got, a CNC machine, and he wants to hook it up. Hankstafers, big thanks to those guys for supporting WFO Radio. And the Sackman family and Antron and Tommy and everybody that is helped out by Hankstafers. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, final segment here on WFO Radio. My time. And a couple of things. First of all, congratulations to Kenny Underwood on winning the $1 Million Bracket Race. That is a big deal. Kenny Underwood has now won it twice, along with Gary Williams, two Florida boys that raced on the west coast of Florida at the same time that I raced on the east coast of Florida. And just amazing. To win the $1 Million Bracket Race twice is just insanity. And Kenny Underwood did it. Big, big deal. And if you don't know the name Kenny Underwood, I get it. You're probably a Mellow Yellow Series fan. But he is he's just an excellent big money bracket racer. Like an excellent bracket racer, period. But it's infrequent that the story of the race is not the guy who won. Kenny ran Corey Gallitti in the final round. Corey is 17 years old, and of course this is a big money bracket race, but the craziness is that Corey Gallitti rolled his race car in the middle of eliminations and crashed, like a bad crash, but was able to get out of the wreckage unharmed. And the rules of the $1 Million Bracket Race allow a driver to use a replacement car. So this kid shook off a crash, got back in a car, and then went back to winning and advanced to the final round with wins over Scotty Richardson and Randall Reed. And I'm reading this right from the press release from Woody, from Jegs. The kid won 2 rounds after crashing, one of which against Scotty Richardson. Are you kidding me? That's hero stuff. And goes on to the final round where he comes up a little bit short against Kenny Underwood. But wow. Crashes, goes on, wins 2 rounds, make the final round of the $1 Million Bracket Race. Just great stuff. So congratulations to those guys. On to Pro Stock. Earlier this week, I did a Patreon show for our Patreons, patreon.com/WFO Radio, where I do special content for the people that are the most diehard listeners of the show. And they want more content, and so they support the show directly, and I create special content. And I talked a little bit about this Pro Stock thing because I'm honestly down and a little disappointed about not so much that the mountain motor thing didn't work out, but that we still can't find a solution all these years later. This has been an ongoing challenge for the sport for a long time. You can think back to when they turned the cars around in the pits. They've really been trying to do stuff with Pro Stock, but a lot of it is coming up no dice. I never really thought that the mountain motor thing was going to work out because I just did not envision an 830 cubic inch engine being able to run up against a 500 cubic inch engine and have them be equal. I just did not see it. But I am not giving up yet. And so we talked a little bit about it on patreon.com/WFO Radio. Sean Anderson has said this: I think there is a real problem in motorsports with trying to please everyone instead of using decisive vision and saying this is what we are doing. Make Pro Stock relevant. factory stock showdown engines, steel roof and quarters, cars at factory dimensions. Now, what he's saying is you can still use a Jerry Haas Pro Stock chassis, but it's got to look like a 1980s style Pro Stocker with A-pillar, roof, C-pillar, quarters, all in actual factory dimensions, period. Plus the front end of the cars. But it can be, slammed down on the ground. It can be a 4-link chassis, modern-style chassis. All that just got to be factory dimensions with the factory stock showdown engines. Keep the cars and engine parts under 5 years old. Only casting available to the general public. Yes, there will be engines and chassis that are obsolete. I am sure that happened when there was a switch to 500 cubic inches came along. NHRA, grow a pair and do it. Don't ask the foxes how to run the hen house, says Sean Anderson. And there is a good argument to that. I can tell you, I know that Dale Aldo from Chrysler had told me very specifically in a conversation we had that he told me that, it's public. That's what Chrysler wanted. They wanted to be able to sell more of these package engines that they're building for this factory stock showdown. They want to sell more of them. And they think the place is to be in a Pro Stock chassis with the car slammed down on the ground. Now, there's, I know, another side to that story. Well, if you do that, then maybe they won't compete in the factory stock showdown. I don't know. Or maybe there'll be more people to run those engines. This solution, one of many, is interesting and intriguing to me. There will be 3 manufacturers because there's certainly parts and pieces available. Jeff Turk just recently given up the Mopar. He's going over to Ford in the Samtec Factory Stock Showdown cars. Don't know if you saw that. That's a big story. The fact that Jeff Turk switching manufacturers is a story at all tells you Samtec Factory Stock Showdown and these modern power plants are interesting. We have got to decide, and we're not going to, but we've got to decide what aspect of Pro Stock makes it Pro Stock. As you know, recently I've taken a tour of KB Racing and got to go behind the scenes and see some of the stuff there. And, factory castings of a cylinder head and block, like, oh, this is what it looks like, right? Was very interesting to me. Does it have to be naturally aspirated? Does it have to be stock? Do we want multiple manufacturers? We've been talking about this on WFO radio now for 5 to 10 years. Since in November, WFO will begin its 10th year in existence. And thank you to all you listeners for making it happen. Yes, it will be a big anniversary. There will be a big celebration. The 10th year of WFO will be beginning in November. But does it have to be naturally aspirated? Is that what makes Pro Stock Pro Stock? Do you have to have a manual transmission and leave with a clutch? Does that make it Pro Stock? Does the car have to look like a stock factory vehicle? Does that make it Pro Stock? Do the parts have to be available? Does that make it Pro Stock? I don't know. Here's what I wonder. I mentioned it to Alan. I mentioned it to Bobby. Both disagreed with me. I'm going to make the case again. Fuel injection, as it is, carburetors, as they were. The fuel injection is slower by a little. And Alan says everybody will switch back to the carburetors. And maybe they will. But what if you gave some additional incentive to the fuel injection guys? Here's an example. Right now they have, as I understand it, 8 injectors, 1 per port. And some of the discussion was to allow them additional injectors, maybe 2 up front by the throttle body, if they were going to run against the mountain motor cars, to give them a little more performance. That will give them more performance at the cost of a couple more injectors, which is not terrible. You can still continue to run the fuel injection. But maybe there are guys out there like V Gaines, say. I'm just using a name. Maybe V loves the fuel injection, but maybe he doesn't. Maybe he wants to run the carburetors. Maybe there are people out there that they feel like they're carburetor experts and they just refuse to do the fuel injection. Bobby Bennett had some negative things to say about the fuel injection. Others have had negative things to say about the fuel injection. I'm a big believer in we gotta say what's true. Everybody was calling for this fuel injection. It wasn't just an NHRA thing. Everybody was calling for fuel injection. Everybody was saying the carburetors were lame and they were outdated and nobody uses carburetors and that you can't get a lawnmower with a carburetor on it anymore. That was a near consensus when they made the fuel injector rule. So let's just at least be truthful to what got us here. And the drum beat for fuel injection was championed by most. There were very few voices that said, let's just stick it out with the carburetors. Because people were tired of that. Well, what about both of them? What about just, get some carbureted cars in there? Maybe there's 3 to 5 cars that would run the carburetors. Or maybe everyone would switch back. Or maybe someone would see some sort of advantage in the fuel injection. And they could compete head to head. Let them battle. Run the parts. If you were going to try to equalize mountain motor pro stockers and 500 cubic inch pro stockers, why can't you just equalize carbureted 500 cubic inch pro stockers and fuel injection pro stockers? Make the carbureted cars carry 100 pounds. And then you're there. And then guys will check. You were ready to do this with the mountain motor cars. Apparently, we're just looking for car count. And if that is the case, that will give you some car count. Now, what was the downside of the fuel injection for those that are wondering? Well, you'll get a whole lot of different answers, but in the end, ultimately, now everybody's got to have a fuel injection expert. It's not the kind of thing like, I just, I learned it. No, you got to have a fuel injection expert. And that's what the guy does. He's the fuel injection guy. And they are very savvy. And they are working on these things like every 100 RPM or less in every gear up through the power band. So just think about it. From launch all the way down, every gear, all the way up through the power band, you are creating what every cylinder and every injector needs to be doing. Whereas the carburetors, it was certainly easier. Now, we did make it much more relevant. Like, wow, there's a laptop. And those flat hoods, man, they're something. But now that we're used to it and everybody looks kind of the same, I don't know. Why not just go back to the previous platform and allow them to compete against each other for a little while? Now, as far as Sean Anderson's idea, the Samtech Factory Stock Showdown engines in a steel roof and quarters, I'm all for it. And as far as them saying NHRA grow a pair, do it, don't ask the foxes how to run the hen house. I also believe in that as well. But you got to give people lead time. No racing part or piece lasts more than 3 to 4 years. So this is a move we're going to be making in 2020. We're going to do these things. I think people would get into it and get behind it. But what has happened in Pro Stock is sad. To me, it is still very exciting. It is very fun. I like the personalities, the drivers, the driver ability. It takes talent. Races being won and lost by thousandths of a second. Tanner Gray driving that car wild and loose was exciting as any Pro Mod run. They do get loose. They do get exciting. They just don't have as much horsepower. We'll just see. The story that keeps on giving, right? The story that keeps on giving. Before we get out of here, I want to tell you about audible.com/WFO Nitro. Audible.com. Start your 30-day trial. Audible.com. WFO Nitro. All kinds of audio content on there. And you get to keep your books, your mobile device. They've got great apps. They've got great stuff. But start your 30-day trial. Audible.com/WFO Nitro. You guys are listeners. You like to listen. You'll like to listen to this stuff, too. Start your free trial. Use our promo code WFO Nitro at audible.com/WFO Nitro. All right, everybody, that is going to do it. We've had a great show. It has been a lot of fun. I greatly appreciate everybody who participates with this show on a regular basis. Yes, check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/WFO Radio. If you're going to be in Vegas, I'll be out there for Hardcore Thursday and Friday and Saturday and Sunday. And then at the SEMA show, Tuesday and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Halloween. We got a whole bunch going on. If you want to take me out to a lavish and fancy dinner, I'll go. But no, it's going to be a great time. And then Pomona, the final race of the year in the Mellow Yellow Series. And then into the long and cold winter break. Who will be your buddy? We will. WFO Ignition is in the archive. We had a great time. It was very fun. We did a top 10 list of mice. Yeah, which Mickey, is, you would imagine, is at the top, right? Or is he not? Yeah, just one of the things we talked about on Ignition. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thanks to Alan Reinhart, Tim Wilkerson, Sean Bellemeur, Bobby Bennett. Greatly appreciate everybody who supports the show. Go share it. Go tell someone. Knock on your neighbor's door. That's going to do it. We'll see you in Vegas.
Vegas, baby, Vegas!
WFO! The views and opinions of the hosts, guests, or callers do not necessarily reflect that of the station ownership, advertisers, or agencies.
I love WFO Radio.